You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
They confuse us with so much life. Just come on this way. not even thinking that we would realize. And if we criticize, we could be ostracized. We don't know who to trust. That's why I say, Lord, please listen to this prayer that comes from before. Please send us another Moses again. Oh, we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. Time to make them oppress us pay. So the children could see their way. Make them get on their knees and pray. Then I'll be up to judgment day. Oh, just can't make it this way. Please deliver us today. May like the Israelites be lifted. Please send us another Moses again. Lord, we just can't make it this way. Yes, deliver us today. Oh, we just can't go on this way. No, we just can't.
UNC wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace. Vote for love. Vote for hope. Vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Yes. Let me say a quick hello to all the WZYU 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYU 95.9 FM as we get to stream in the live Labor Town Hall from Couva South. Yeah, we're going to be streaming that for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy, how you going?
Good, thank you, and yourself.
I can't complain at all. I can't complain. Tommy, you wouldn't believe it. Today, Tommy, for the first time in I don't know how much years, I ran 7.5 miles today.
Wow, you're improving.
Boy, things are looking up. 7.5 miles, Tommy. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Let me just turn that down there. So, yeah, 7.5 miles, man. Let me quickly say some quick hellos here. Mr. Intellectual, good evening. Blessed evening, Pro, Uncle T, and all villagers. Hope you all having a blessed and productive day in spite of all the rhetorics. Correct is right. Semantic 62, welcome. Good evening, Professor Wall Street, Uncle Tommy. Franklin, boy. Frank Newboy. UNC all the way to victory. What a victory that will be. You ain't lying, you know, Frank. What a victory that will be. Oh, what a victory. Tommy, don't it have a hymn with that? Oh, what a victory that will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that fella singer, Truck does have a thing with hymns my parents sang or something like that. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Correct is right. Yeah, so folks, we be coming
From 7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock. Straight talk from Couva South. Yeah. You hear all the action. And well, we continue to bolt ahead, bolt ahead, yeah, to April the 28th, where, you know, a tsunami is coming. Definitely. And what was the latest today, boy? What they had in the news today, boy? Tommy had us do an editorial.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, I had to do an editorial on Dr. Devon Mirage, boy. Yeah. And well, not surprising.
And one on the young Stewart with the the housing promises for the youths.
The 3,000, Tommy, you know, they're really good enough. You had to give them credit.
You had to realize that they're desperate, so they put out all stops, you know.
Boy, it's like every day something different, boy.
Hey, you got to catch for straws when you're drowning, you know.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to play the top of the hour now, so once it starts, we will just run through it. So, folks, let's take this quick station identification. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let's go for this quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Welcome to WZYE TV 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. on Let's Talk Politics. Like, share and subscribe to keep up to date with reality affecting your life. And as we always say, we bring the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
It have our place, WZYE, where they treat you like friends and family. So if you're looking for a place to belong, going WZYE, you could come along. If you have haste, though, come with me. We do have dad on WZYE, Santa Medite.
And of course, folks, that is Caribbean Soul and Dr. Love. So let's go straight to the Couva Town Hall. Let's go.
Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins, everybody wins. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream.
Listen closely.
Stuart Young is bolted to Venezuela's Maduro. If you take God out of your thoughts to vote for Young, you better brace for U.S. sanctions, say goodbye to U.S. visas, say goodbye to U.S. dollars for business, medicine, traveling, online shopping. Put yourself and your loved ones first.
It's time to rise up Trinidad and Tobago.
Enough is enough.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. Vote UNC.
Everybody say Kamla. Come on. Every vote for UNC, peace and prosperity. We can secure we family right here in TNT. Say everybody know, this is the whole show. Who will ask all the tax and give the children laptops is? Who we voted?
Yes, we voted for Kamla.
Every UNC family. Where's the flag? Where's the flag? Sing it out. Who?
Everybody wins. When UNC wins,
Say Kamla.
everybody say Kamla.
Again. Hey. Kamla. We're waiting. The leader's coming. The next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla.
Yes, we voted for Kamla. Let's see progress in
Kamla.
everybody say Kamla.
Everybody. There we go.
Yes, we voted.
I retired in 2002. When I retired, my pension was $1,000 from NIS. When Mr. Bissessar came into power in 2010, my pension rose to $3,000. Now I'm hearing PNM say, if you have money saved, they could take away your pension. I can't wait to vote UNC again. When UNC wins, senior citizens like myself win.
PM turn Trinidad and Tobago into the new plantation. It's nothing more than sufferation and taxation. It's time to vote out this administration. And we give them the chance to run the country. The only thing them did is tax and fight we. They make things hard, they make it grimy. It ain't hard to see them not like we. So we go vote them out, vote them out. Vote them out, vote them out. We are them a time run now. We go vote them out, vote them out. We are them. Vote them out, vote them out. We are them. Me say your time run now. We don't want to see the PNM in government 10 years in power, and PNM don't make no sense. Where is your evidence of your accomplishments? They wanna trick TNT like we got no sense. But when you question and ask them, so what they really do? Them have no clue I'm talking to you. No time for you apply, it's time for you to see how much time them raise gas and whip the treasury. Man them get away with murder and walk the road free. It's time to vote them out, TNT. So we go vote them out, vote them out. Vote them out, vote them out. We are them a time run now. We go vote them out, vote them out. We are them. Vote them out, vote them out. We are them. Me say your time run out. I say we fed up with them, no bother with them, no trust them, no vote for them. Anyway we see PNM, we avoiding them. Send them a message, cause we go vote them out. I say we fed up with them, no bother with them, no trust them, no vote for them. Anyway we see PNM, we avoiding them. Cause we go vote them out, vote them out. Cause we go vote them out, vote them out. Send them a message, yellow is the code right now. Vote them out, vote them out. Send them a message, we are them a time run now. We go vote them out, vote them out. We are them, yellow is the code right now. We go vote them out, vote them out. We go vote them out, vote them out. Come and queen, vote them out. This election, make the right decision. When UNC win, everyone wins. Cause we go vote them out, vote them out, vote them out.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can build, place your ex by the rising sun. If you want leaders who can lead properly, place your ex by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can restore hope, place your ex by the rising sun. If you want leaders who lead with love, place your ex by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. Time to decide. If you want leaders who can restore hope, place your ex by the rising sun. If you want leaders who lead with love, place your ex by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can restore hope, place your ex by the rising sun. If you want leaders who lead with love, place your ex by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins, Trinbago. Everybody wins, everybody wins.
Let me invite all of us to stay standing as we get ready to say the national anthem and a word of prayer. Side by side we stand,
Almighty God, most beneficial and merciful, Creator of the universe and embodiment of divine wisdom and light, we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. May your will be done in our nation as it is in the heavens. Please bless our political leader, party officials, activists, and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Give us the grace to always see good, be good, and do good, and the courage to serve the people. Protect us as we stand against injustice and iniquity, and inspire our endeavors to find the right solutions to the problems that are affecting our fellow citizens. Grant that we may always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of our country.
I invite you to take your seats. Couva South, good evening. Come on, we can do better than that. Good evening. Let me welcome you to this Workers' Agenda and the Labor Town Hall meeting right here at this Town Hall in one of the birthplaces of the labor movement. My name is Clyde Elder, and tonight I wear two hats. I am proudly the UNC's Library constituency candidate and I'm also a former trade union leader, having exited my leadership in 2023. And I say that to let you know that I'm well placed and well positioned to moderate these proceedings here this afternoon. The Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and the leader of this great party, and on the stage joining us this evening, three distinguished gentlemen who I will get to later on this afternoon. I also want to recognize the President of the Transport Industrial Workers Union, as well as the General Secretary, Comrade Roberts and Comrade Sean. I also see in our presence the President and the Secretary General of the Trinidad and Tobago Postal Workers Union, Comrade Shalon Trim and Comrade Forbes. I also want to recognize in our presence here this evening former Vice President of the Public Services Association and current President of the National Contract Workers and General Employees Association, Comrade Joe Field. And of course, it would be remiss of me to not also recognize, as part of that labor bunch, someone who is hosting us this evening, and I make no other person than Comrade Rudy Indar Singh, current MP for Couva South. And Comrade, I do not ask your forgiveness for putting you with my labor comrades, because you are a comrade, yes? I also want to recognize in our presence Senator Wade Mack, and I see the esteemed Dr. Gopi Singh, former Minister of Education, with us. Welcome. Of course, I also want to recognize the General Secretary of our great party, Mr. Peter Kanhai, and all of the other executive members of the United National Congress. And I want to thank His Excellency, the Mayor of the Superior Borough Corporation, Mr. Dudnat Meru, for joining us this afternoon. And of course, all of the executive members of the Couva South constituency of the UNC, welcome and thank you for being here. This meeting will not be possible, of course, without the presence of all of us. So to all of you, I say welcome. You know, if there's one thing that we must set straight, is a burning question people have been asking over and over again. Why has the labor movement seen it fit and necessary to join with the United National Congress in a coalition of interests? Now, if somebody is trying to kill you, then by all means, you are to ensure that you survive. And if in surviving, there is a party, there is an entity that shows that they are aligned with you, they are aligned with your interests, they are aligned with your values, they are aligned with your thinking, they are aligned with your progress, then by all means, you have to align with that party. And under the leadership of the esteemed Kamla Persad-Bissessar, a discussion has been taking place for well over 2 years between members of the trade union movement and the leadership of this great party. And that discussion, no fly-by-night pop-up side, that discussion has taken us to a place where today we have a strong coalition taking us forward into government after April 29th. And today, I am pleased, no, I am honored and proud to say and to wear this UNC shirt here tonight. So for all the naysayers wondering why is Labour with the UNC, we are with the UNC because when UNC wins, everybody wins. Tonight, I'm joined on this esteemed stage by three gentlemen who to me are no strangers. To you, they will also be no strangers. But in case you're wondering, who are these gentlemen? On my very immediate right, Comrade Anil Roger. Comrade Roger has been the President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union since 2008. He is known as a fearless fighter for the working class. And Comrade Roger was recently nominated unopposed for a historic record 7th term, receiving the full endorsement of your OWQ membership. And going 2 seats down, Comrade Leroy Baptiste, former president of the Public Services Association, immediate past president. And he's now an industrial relations professional and holds a master's degree in HRM, Human Resource Management, and a postgraduate diploma in Human Resource Management, both from the University of the West Indies. And on that comrade immediate right, Comrade Michael Annisette of the Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union, and he served that union for well over 2, maybe 3 decades. He's also a labor consultant for the SWWTU. He remains the head of NATUC, and he also served as an independent senator in the 9th Republic Parliament of Chandigarh from 2007 to 2010. And of course, the rose among the thorns on the stage, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and the second female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So now that you know who is joining me, I will now want to invite each of them to make some brief presentations to you. I want to stress brief because as a former trade unionist, we like to talk. We just over-talk sometimes. So I want to stress brief. And when you marry a trade unionist, becoming a politician who loves to talk too, you can imagine the kind of trouble you might be in if I do not manage this thing properly. Yes? And if it's one thing that we always pride ourselves in the trade union movement, is that of discipline. So I want to urge my three esteemed comrades, when you come to this microphone, to remember to be disciplined. Yes? In the event you are not, and in keeping with good and proper IR, this is your first warning, that I will instruct the mic man to cut off your mic after 10 minutes. And you will have no redress to seek any form of appeal from that decision. So having said that, my good friends, my brothers and sisters, let me first invite to the microphone, and they will sit where they are, my comrade and my friend, Comrade Anil, George Roger.
Is the mic on? Let me make good and efficient use of my time. And in that regard, let me give honor where honor is due and recognize the most important person in the country today, for now and in the future, our dear political leader and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Chairman, you said it a while ago, but I think that from my perspective, I want to make it abundantly clear to Trinidad and Tobago, because I understand that we are being carried live. We have made no secret, absolutely no secret about all of those meetings we were having with the UNC. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, the person who would have led the team, the UNC team in these discussions, was the honorable leader, the political leader herself, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. And therefore it is important. It's important for Trinidad and Tobago, all the workers, to know that when they come with their foolish talk about we just making up things, all of those things, we went very granular. We dealt with all of those issues relative to all of the trade unions and workers in this country. I want to start by saying, you know, as a worker, you really take things for granted. And therefore, the only time you know the use, the benefit, or the necessity for a trade union is when you get in trouble with your employer. And sometimes we take it for granted that the laws that we don't pay attention to, that those laws would support us. Lo and behold, to workers' dismay, when you have a matter, when you are dismissed, when your employer does you something wrong and you seek redress, then you get to find out that the odds are against you. And it is in that background we would have been addressing a number of changes to the Industrial Relations Act. Changes to the law that governs the conditions of work at the various workplaces. And therefore, I want to, at this point, make this is the first and last point I'm going to make here tonight, that for 10 years, 10 long years, 10 years of 52 weeks each, 10 years of 12 months each. This PNM government, with Stuart Young, that Gary Sobers man, did absolutely nothing to support workers in this country. And so when workers were taking a beating, when trade unions were taking a beating, he was the man right next to Rowley, advising Rowley how to put licks on workers and trade unions in this country. So don't come now with no fancy hodgepodge, just put together promises to try to fool people. You stood idly by when over 60,000 jobs were lost in this country. And he said absolutely nothing. Not one piece of legislation to treat with workers' issue were brought to the parliament. And you know what? They had all of our submissions and discussions that we had. We made all of the suggestions. We identified what is called low-hanging fruits that you can easily, and it costs them no money, you know, that they can easily make amendments so that workers can enjoy a better day. They can be more safe at work and so on. That did not happen. So I want to share with you, and we will take up in the question and answers a bit later on, some of the critical issues that we were tackling in those discussions that found its way into the workers' agenda. And so the commitment to amend legislation in the shortest possible time for trade union successorship at key state enterprises. You know, they do a hatchet job, and that is called, they call it a name, restructuring, or they call it reorganizing and right-sizing. And that is primarily to do what? To get rid of trade unions and what? And to get rid of collective agreements and to employ people on contract doing the same work for quarter of the pay that you enjoyed before. And therefore, to get rid of trade unions, to prevent that, we tackle the issue of trade union successorship, to put laws in place to have trade unions. If you open up a next company, whether you're state or government, tomorrow morning, the trade unions still have successorship and we can still represent workers there. Yeah. And if you find me talking while you're clapping, it's because I want to rush my time. Eh? Yeah. All right. And so to simplify the process of recognition, many workers in this country want to join a trade union. The Constitution of the country, the laws of Trinidad and Tobago allow you for freedom of association. The Industrial Relations Act allows you to join a trade union of your choice. But you know, the process to become a member of a trade union, for a trade union to get recognized majority status, is an onerous one. And therefore, we want to simplify that process to allow for workers across the country to be represented by trade unions. You know, this leader, the next prime minister, former prime minister who workers enjoy the best under her leadership. She is not afraid. She's not afraid or fearful of trade union representation. The only people who are afraid of that is people like Stuart Young and Keith Rowley, who are up to no good. And you would imagine him coming from an industrial relations background, industrial relations lawyer. He would have supported that. But no, his is another agenda. And so we want to simplify that process. The other thing that we want to do is to deal with the Act 32 of 1985. That's the Retrenchment and Severance Benefit Act. And so thousands and thousands of workers, you saw it over the last 10 years, they were retrenched. And the majority of those workers today are without terminal benefits. And therefore, they have to go home because that law does not prioritize workers in the pecking order in terms of settling issues and paying them terminal benefits. And so companies shut down today, open up tomorrow under another name, yeah? And the workers still have not gotten their benefit. And so we want to address that law to put workers high up on the priority because it's workers who create the wealth for those companies. And so that's Act 32 of 1985. Another one is the Workmen's Compensation Act. So many workers today are injured on the job. No compensation. And so those employers, they have fly-by-night insurance companies who fight down those. I'm sure that everybody in here, or many persons in here are familiar with this. Fight down those workers to receive what? Workmen compensation. Compensation upon death, fatality while at work. Many workers are experiencing difficulty to receive a proper compensation. So we want to revise that to ensure that workers, if an accident or injury or fatality, that they and their dependents can get a proper and well compensation. Just look at what is happening to the divers as a prime example. And perhaps we'll talk about that a bit later on. And so the USH Act. The USH Act is another one for us to really pay attention to. These USH inspectors, to start with, they are what? Contract workers. They are afraid to call a spade when they come to investigate a complaint about unsafe conditions, or to put the employers in place to make the employer instruct the employers. We want to give more authority to those USH inspectors to make sure that they perform the duty to make the workplaces safe for workers to perform. That is one of the major amendments to that particular act. And so there are many other pieces of legislation in the IRA. The IRA, the Act 23 of 1972, many bits and pieces of amendments. The last one being 1994. We want to get into, we have made many recommendations to properly overhaul that act, modernize it to take care of workers while at work in this 2025 and going forward. We have had no cooperation with the PNM from that. The cooperation we're going to get to make sure that that become a reality, it is from who again? The UNC government with the Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamla. And let me just touch on outstanding wage and salary negotiation. There are over some 75 outstanding debts to be settled as we speak. And so workers continue to be living on what? 2011, 207 wages in this country right now, while these people fill their pockets, take 47 to what? So, yeah, from 27 to 40%, 47% increase. That 47, and mankind full in pocket. They fill every orifice in their body with money, walk out and leave you empty-handed. We're going to fix that in the coalition of interest.
Thank you, Comrade Roger. Your time is up, Comrade Roger. Thank you, comrade. And I'm sure there's many more you could say. We'll be here whole night. But it will come up in the questions and answers segment. I'm sure you'll get a chance to say what you're getting to say just now. I want to recognize, as we were beginning the proceedings, the arrival of the President General of the National Union of Government and Federal Workers, Comrade Christopher Street. And of course, when Comrade Roger was speaking, and we heard about retrenchment, I'm going to call 4 companies. Government Human Resource Services Limited, TDC, Caroni Green, and Petrotrin. All of those companies were closed down, and all of the workers were sent home in those companies under this PNM government. I want to now introduce our next speaker, another comrade and friend of mine, Comrade Michael Annisette.
Good night, comrades. Good night, brothers and sisters. I'm not hearing you all. I want some energy. Good night. God, man. Let me feel like all the win already now, man. Good night. Where is that? Good night. Right. Power. Power, man. Power. Comrades, brothers and sisters, my task is going to be a short one. because I want to raise several issues within the 10 minutes. I don't want my mic to be cut, which I think is arbitrary, but we will deal with that in the industrial court, and I will deal with that statement. I will want to say tonight, brothers and sisters, that work is a social right. It's an obligation, not a commodity. Work as a social right means every person has the right to work under fair conditions, meaning employment should provide dignity, security, and fair wages. We have been involved in a struggle in the port over the last 10 years with this government who is now claiming to love workers, whereby we signed a collective agreement under the UNC government, and when the PM come into power, they say that the CPO didn't agree and therefore dock workers cannot get their wage increases. Would you believe that? And then therefore, the question of the institution of justice becomes paramount in what we are discussing. Because I could recall when the UNC came into power, under the leadership and under Wade Mark and other members in Dar es Salaam, we were able to settle outstanding negotiations, thereby giving workers the power to purchase. And you see, brothers, I want to talk about economics in a simple way. Our economy has been riddled with one concept, the oil and gas. And every time you talk about diversification, demand has get back. Diversification, what? We have lived to see that what we have been talking about diversifying the economy is what is necessary. And do you know, comrades, the records are there, and I have it, that in terms of the Caribbean region, because labor and capital is symbiotic in their relationship, because without labor, where you're going to get capital, and without capital, where you're going to get labor. But more importantly, you, the ordinary citizens, are the purchasers of goods and services. And therefore, when you take away and degrade workers' salary, you are in effect interfering with your economy. Let me repeat it, This idea of not paying government employees salaries for 10 years is a wicked, malicious act that is rooted in a form of dictatorship, in a form of insensitivity, and a playbook that demonstrates you do not care about the ordinary citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who keeps this economy going. And therefore, my brothers and sisters, the question is, in the 10 years, we saw the relationship with big business, capital, finances. They get all the contracts, but no salary increases for workers. And I ask the question, when the Salary Review Commission had offered the percentum increases, the same analysis that the trade union did, and the same proposal that we submitted in order to ensure that the purchasing powers of workers 10 years ago will be the same in 2025. This government rejected our proposal, but the very government accepted the increase for themselves. Understand what I'm telling all you. This has nothing to do with politics now, This has to do with the truth. And the reality and truth cannot change. It cannot change. And The Prime Minister defended accepting the increase, while we, the ordinary citizen, while we, the disadvantaged, have been forced from day to day to make a determination whether to go to school, give my children the money to go to school, or take the same passage for I to go to work. That is a reality in Trinidad and Tobago that we cannot deny. And therefore, I am saying, we are saying that the time has come for that to change. If you all want to live in an abusive relationship for 10 years and still go back, you get your bossa, your thing, you ain't get no food, well then I don't know what's wrong with all you. You're delusional. And therefore, I am hoping that we are not delusional and we will see this thing not from that playbook that I have seen, the question of the race card that is being paid. Because somebody called me Annisette, how you going to talk in an Indian thing and a UNC thing? I say, I have Indian workers in my union. I have Spanish workers too now. I have African workers. And my right is to talk on behalf of the working class where creed and race has no place. It has no place. And therefore I am saying today, do not get tied up with the buggy of race. Ask yourself, are you better off now after 10 years in power? Are you better off? Are you better off? Are you better off? Well then I rest my case. I don't have to plead nothing again. That is a reality. And let me tell you, the dock workers who work out there, they have been toiling. And you know what is the most amazing thing? In this country, the government owns the Port-au-Point leases and the Port of Spain. And because we stand up for our rights in the Port of Spain, they make a decision not to pay us our 12% and implement the international best practices that will make the port of Port of Spain more competitive and more productive. And as I speak to you, the issue of the port paying the 12% is not an issue because the port generates sufficient revenue to pay the 12%. But this wicked, vicious, insensitive Prime Minister and government takes a decision. I don't care about that. I say 002, 002, take it or leave it, do what you want. And then come back and tell me, well, I'll go offer you 5% in the next 3 years. Like if dock workers stupid. 5% over 9 years is 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1% for 9 years. And 1% on your dollar is 1 cent. That is the value that this government in power is treating you. The value of your labor is 1% a year, 1 cent on your dollar. We have to understand that is crippling the economy. That is causing crime. That is causing the kind of disorder that we are seeing. And I want to end by making a point now. I have witnessed the dismantling of the industrial court. And I hope under the new government, we're going to address that matter. When politicians start to interfere with the institutions of your country, you know we're sliding down a dictatorship, right? And then we know that democracy is up in the air. And why do I say that?
Your time is up, Comrade Annisette.
I have to stop?
Yes, Comrade Annisette.
Oh God, comrades beg for me now. All their protests, tell them 2 more minutes. Tell him 2 more minutes of the finish. Come on. I are trade unionists. Take 2 more minutes.
It only have one Jesse on this train. This train have one Jesse. One Jesse.
Well then.
Yes, your time is up. Thank you, Comrade Annisette.
Comrade.
Give him a round of applause, please. And you know, while Comrade Annisette was speaking, and he was speaking about the negotiation that was settled and was not implemented, it's not new to the port, by the way. It's a modus operandi of this government. They did the same thing with NIB, settled and then say they are paying. They did the same thing with TSTT, settled and then say we are paying and then say we'll pay for 5 years. And when you really look at it, those are really settlements of practical completion, just like the practical completion of the hospital, just like the practical completion of the airport in Tobago. Those were settlements of practical completion. It ain't finished yet. Next to speak, and you realize this train have one Jesse. Another comrade and friend of mine, very, very dynamic. Sometimes it does pain me to have to discipline good workers there, but you have to do it sometimes. Yes? And Comrade Baptiste, you will not escape the wrath should you too require disciplining. So to give you his 10-minute presentation, Comrade Leroy Baptiste.
Comrades, one and all. All right, I see the timer, 10 minutes. We're going to make it. First, let me acknowledge the honorable, the honorable political leader and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. I want to also acknowledge my fellow panelists and, well, boy, they have real dignitaries here. Comrades, Rudy, Tim, Streak, Wade, all protocols observed, comrades, all protocols observed. Yes? I'm at 10 minutes. Let me see if I could skip around. Comrades, why did we decide to support the UNC? That was easy. That was real easy. Anybody who have been here for the last 10 years, that's supposed to be the easiest decision you can make. Comrades, I have witnessed, as no as you have witnessed, the widening of the gap between the haves and the have-nots in this country. This country is being run for the 1%. That must come to an end. Comrades, we have had the complete decimation of a middle class. That must come to an end. Comrades, we have had out of control crime and criminality plaguing this nation. That must come to an end. Comrades, we have a situation where, as called the Peter Pan generation, where 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds have to still be by under their parents' roof. You know Peter Pan, that little boy that flies and can't grow up? Well, that's what's happening in this generation because of the policies of the last 10 years. That you're 30 years, 40 years, because of temporary jobs and contract jobs, you could never afford a mortgage to move out of your parents' house. Comrades, that must come to an end. Right following the Peter Pan generation, I was calling it the double palm generation. Because if you're not at home and you turn a big man and you want to do adulting, double palm rivaling KFC Every community has one. Catering for the homelessness that we have in this country because of the policies of the last 10 years, where young people can have a permanent job to call their own, a good paying job to call their own, decimating all the good paying jobs. Don't you know that? Where your children that you're fighting to educate will get a good paying job. They lick up BWE, they lick up Petrotrin, they lick up TNTech, they look at the lick up TSTT, all the good paying jobs disappearing right before our eyes, comrades. Comrades, guess what? Why am I here? Because that must come to an end. Comrades, yeah, man. I watched the Constitution of this country. You know what it says? It says, whereas the people of Trinidad and Tobago respect the principle of social justice and therefore believe that the operation of the economic system should result in the material resources of the community being so distributed so as to subserve the common good, that there should be adequate means of livelihood for all. Comrade, for all. Not one, for all. Comrade, the last 10 years that happening? Well, let me tell you something. That must come to an end. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Comrades are looking at my time. Hear me, comrades. Hear me, comrades. One of the worst things that happened in this country is how they treat workers, boy. Imagine you reach a stage where you have to sit down and wait for years to commence negotiation whilst your salary getting mashed up by inflation. Food inflation is 64.2% as of 2024. You know what that means, comrade? It means in 2013, if you're spending $1,000 in the supermarket to get the same amount of goods and services now, you have to spend $1,642. Comrade, that must come to an end. We have, comrades, that gasoline, this wicked government raised gasoline super unleaded by 121%, and super unleaded and diesel by 161%. Hear me, comrades, if all you know what that means. If you're spending $100 for some super unleaded, the same quantity, you have to pay $221 for the same quantity. If it's a diesel and you were spending $100 in a diesel vehicle for the same quantity, you have to spend $261. Comrade, that's wrong. That must come to an end. So, comrade, what's the answer? The answer is a simple one. It's a simple one. There's only one person. One person who have heard our cry. One person who know they was choking us and we couldn't breathe. Comrade, we need to breathe. You know, like George Floyd, when that man, that police put his knee on his neck and he was saying, I can't breathe. Hear what? We in this country can breathe under the PNM. But guess what? There is an answer. The answer, comrade, is Miss Kamla, Persad-Bissessar, and the United National Congress. Comrades, their track record speaks for itself. Oh my God, just remember now, it was United National Congress that give us the Children Life Fund, that get zero-rated food and drugs, that created border, first-class affordable homes, that regularized squatters, that give us dollar for dollar. Only remember that? So we can educate our children, that settle over 135 negotiations in 5 years. That raised pension twice. Here what we face. We have a situation where a government earlier only want to give us what? 4%. But my God, what did they give for themselves? 47%. Comrades, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And you see them armchair economists that suddenly want to talk about we business because somebody say they're going to start with 10%. If they couldn't talk to the 1%, if they couldn't talk to the cabinet, keep your damn advice and go from here. And to be clear, comrades, you want to know why we're here? Because it's here that say they're going to repeal the TTRA Act. Give me a round of applause, come on. Give the UNC a round of applause. It is the UNC that say for WASA, they go throw that cabinet subcommittee report in the drain. That is why we voted for them. It is the UNC that says living wage for all, that they will restart the Petroleum refinery. Comrades, that they go start negotiation and end all negotiation on behalf of the working class. Comrades, put your hands together for Kamla, Persad-Bissessar, and the United National Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. And I know your 10 minutes of speech must come to an end. But you were very, very, very powerful, comrade. Thank you very much. And as I look up, I could see people as far as my eyes could see. The crowd is so big, we have gone into the other car park now. Give yourselves a round of applause for this huge crowd here tonight. And I want to acknowledge, as he walked in, the former chairman of this great party, Mr. Jack Warner. The other speaker needs no introduction, but she is, and she will be, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I think our candidate here, our chairman, is going to stick me with time too. The timer is on. He's doing a great job. Give him a round of applause. The winning candidate for the break for the UNC. My honorable colleagues on the platform, and because my time is limited, UNC friends and family, good night. All protocols observed. I want to make a special mention, however, of a brother, comrade who has just joined us. Please welcome him. We were working before with Mr. Lambert from Nuge. Thank you so much. And we are all together a powerful force. There is no doubt about it. Nothing is going to stop us now. Nothing will stop us now. I say thank you. Good evening. A warrior, a fighter, a man amongst men. Give it up for Ansel Roger, President General of the TU. Comrade Leroy Baptiste, fighter as well, a warrior for people and workers. And Mr. Annisette will never give up the struggle. I'm hearing a rumor. They told me don't go off script tonight. So I want you to investigate whether it is true that this government has sold the port. Let's find out. I am asking for a friend. I'm asking for many friends. Has the government been engaged in negotiations to sell the port of Trinidad and Tobago? Let's find out. Let's find out. So tonight, to all of you here, I say we have always listened to your voice. Your voices have helped to shape our policies to suit the needs of the working people of Trinidad and Tobago and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The UNC has always been a party which recognizes the need to unite the working man and woman and fight for your rights to justice, equality, and prosperity. Our fundamental principle in our party is to answer to you, the people. I told you in the last time I spoke, you are our bosses. And for those who forget that the people are their bosses, what we say, vote them out, vote them out, vote them out. So we answer to you, the people, to serve your interests over and above any elite few in our country. Today I say, the UNC and our coalition partners, we represent the 99% of Trinidad and Tobago. The 99%. The contributions here tonight focus on the workers' agenda, labor policies, which, as others have told you, we've been holding this over 2 years. I want to thank all those from my team and from the labor team who contributed to these discussions. I say thank you to Wade Mark, thank you to Rudin Dar Singh, thank you to Jalen John, and the others who were part of the UNC team when we have been meeting, as I said, for over 2 years. If I didn't call your name, no disrespect, but I want to thank the UNC team and I want to thank the labor team. We've engaged in serious discussions. And if you listen tonight, some of those areas we found common ground have been enunciated legislatively by Mr. Roger with respect to negotiations and other areas by Mr. Baptiste. So look, we have a tremendous workers' agenda. We have created a manifesto which I've asked to be distributed. You all have it. Workers' agenda. We've crystallized those 2 years of discussions. Leroy, I know it's hard, but those 2 years crystallized, summarized here in point form, that anyone who wants to read can read this. It is very simple, and I've given you a copy. My staff and others activists, you have a copy. Do you have a copy? Great, make sure and read it. Because when the others come to pelt scorn on us and they come to all the bacchanal, we are about plans and policies. And we've been rolling out our plans and policies at every single meeting. So take it with you and please read it. I'm saying this workers' agenda forms a very crucial part of our manifesto. We will make the lives of working citizens better when you put us into government on the 28th of April. The PNM are pushing a narrative against workers in this country. They're pushing a narrative against our policies, which are aimed, these are intended to make your life better, to make your life easier, to make your life more affordable for all of the citizens of our land. They're pushing against that. They're pushing, and I'm coming up here, not going off script, but I'm hearing on the radio, the one-day Prime Minister. One day, you know. He was sworn in today, and on the next day, dissolved the parliament and called election. Remember that. And for that 1 day as Prime Minister, he's going to get $1 million pension per year for the rest of his life. The rest of his life. We must vote them out. We have to move them out. We must move them out. And I'm thinking, I'm coming to con, the news is on, and this one day Prime Minister promising land, house, mortgage, promising everything under God's great heaven. Everything under the sun. But you know what? PNM promises never materialize. PNM promises never materialize. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Don't get chained up. And despite the PNM narrative against workers, despite their excuse, they had no revenue. Let me tell you, they spent over $350 billion. Billion. I don't even know what that even looks like, but let's imagine. $350 billion. You know what is that? Over $500 billion they've spent. More than any other government in our history has ever spent. $500 billion. Where did that money go? Stop and ask yourself, where did that money go? Because you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't taste it. Nowhere. Where did $500 billion go? Look, as I said, don't get chained up, fellas and ladies. Don't get chained up by these people with their lies and their promises. When they come to your door and ask for your vote, ask them, where's the $500 billion? Where's the $3 billion? The Auditor General told us. Where is it? Where is it? Ask them. So if they could spend that kind of money, the money is clearly there. Because in the past 10 years, as I say, $500 billion spent. The government has money for everything else, except what? To pay workers. Everything else. But they can't find money for people. They pay money for workers, but they could find money. I gave you a list last time I spoke of all the money spent. They spent about, as I say, $500 billion. Now they're complaining about $7 billion to pay workers. And you know what? I'm asking you to make that make sense. The PNM maths, not Matson. 2 cabinet ministers of the PNM, Young and Rawi, they have recused themselves over 210 times from the cabinet. Why? Because their friends and family had to benefit from what was taking and discussing in the cabinet. 210 times. That is nearly a year, boy. They only have cabinet once a week. So that's more than a year of cabinet meetings. Jack, 52 weeks. 4 years, them fellas move out of the cabinet, they come out of the cabinet because it had something to do with their friends and family. That's what's going on. You think they have time for you to too busy recusing themselves to give their friends and family contracts. And they cannot deny it. 210. Our activists filed freedom of information applications, and the cabinet told us between the both of them, 210 times. 4 years, Tim did the maths for me. 4 years. 4 years, my friends. And Stuart Young, as I say, is the biggest culprit of them all. Minister Imbert cannot account for the $3 billion. Farris and his family has received almost $300 million in rent from the government. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And all you're in riot yet? Imbert laughing at you and laughing at you, sitting down in some big chair somewhere, grinning and skinning. And they ain't riot yet. Well, on April 28th, riot with your voting finger. Riot with your voting finger. Riot with your voting finger. And so they have spent over $1 billion in legal fees for their eat-of-food lawyers. Over $4 billion in financing contracts to Stuart Young's brother's company. Did you all know that? Well, they say what they do in dark will come to light. Can't hide it. Because when we get into our cabinet, we'll expose all that they've been up to, sitting in that cabinet and pretending to run the country. They've given billions of dollars to husbands and wives of cabinet ministers. But guess what? No money to pay workers. No money. You see, our philosophy in the UNC is that our policies, we believe, every time we were in government, everything that we do, we believe that our greatest resource in TNT is our human resource, our greatest resource. Several of the speakers here mentioned it. No country can be developed without tangible and equitable and strategic investment in its human resource, in its people. No country can develop without that investment into the people of a country. One of you said it, I think it might have been Ms. Baptiste, about with all the people, there's no labor. Without labor, there is no investment, there is no development. So you come first, and the UNC, we always say we put people at the center of our development, at the center. So after several meetings, intense dialogue with the executive and the leadership of these various unions, and I tell you, them union fellas ain't easier. At the table, they're putting their proposals, and listen, I ain't easy too. I had a pushback. So at the end of it, we came up with proposals that we all agree with. And that's how it should be. Consensus, consultations as we move forward. So we had several meetings with the Joint Trade Union Movement, JTUM, OWTU, Oilfield Workers Trade Union, the PSA, Public Services Association, Seaman and Waterfront Workers Trade Union, NATUC, National Trade Union Center, and the National Union of Government and Federal Workers, NUGFW. All these discussions. And we have a fellow, Wayne Mark, he's a trade unionist too. So he was in those meetings. We are endorsing another trade unionist. So them fellas feel as them alone could be trade unionists. The UNC also has its own trade unionists. And so we met and we created the UNC's Workers' Agenda, which aims to restore prosperity to the working class of our land. This government has spent, I told you, $530 billion, $500 billion. You know what? They're complaining about a new UNC government saying we are going to pay the workers. They're vexed about that, you know. And I'm glad Ms. Baptiste and the others said, listen, take whatever they promise, whatever they do, but let us vote them out, And if paying workers is wrong, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. Their new Minister of Finance, man, don't take me on, you know. Don't try to fight me because I'll fight back. I'm telling you, I will fight you back. I've been a fighter for people for so many years. There's new Minister of Finance, Vishnu Danpal, is on record in the newspaper yesterday condemning the UNC because we want to pay workers back pay and better wages. This is the same Vishnu Danpal that was the main advisor as a permanent secretary to whom? Imbut. For years, for the last 9 years. He was also the High Commissioner to United Kingdom. And what happened? They imposed visa restrictions on Trinidad and Tobago. Remember that? Danpal's public statement confirms to all workers that the PNM has no intention to pay any back pay or to increase any salaries if they go back into office. That is Danpal. Danpal, remember the name. Go and look for it, Google it, and see what he said, reported in the paper yesterday, that they don't have the money. Man, if you don't have the money, get the hell out of there. And we will find the money to pay the workers. Get the hell out of there. Move. Move and let me pass. Move and let me pass. Go. You have to go. Dan Paul's statement, as I say, confirms they have no intention to settle workers' wages, back pay, and any increases between back pay from back, as you say, years ago. Things we settled for the port workers when we were in office up to today, 10 years later, man, they have not honored it. You think they will honor anything for workers in this country? No. Take note, the PNM Minister of Finance is saying nothing for workers over the next 5 years. On the 28th, vote them all out. Vote them out. We are saying there was money and there still is money to pay workers a fair salary and their back pay. It is the PNM who has deliberately chosen to not pay workers, and instead they spend their money, guess where? I think Mr. Roger went a little off color. Where they put their money, they fatten in their pockets, and he said everywhere else. Fattening their own pockets, but they don't want to pay workers. And so, my friends, workers and their families must hold the PNM responsible for crime. Workers and their families must hold the PNM responsible for the high cost of living. Workers and your families must hold the PNM responsible for wiping off over 60,000 small businesses off the register. Off the register. Workers and their families must hold the PNM responsible for over 60,000 jobs lost. You must hold the PNM responsible and Stuart Young himself for the 4% insult to the workers of this country. Workers and families must hold the PNM responsible for cutting benefits to your children. Remember that. Any government that would go to take milk out of the mouth of your babies do not even deserve to be listened to. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. Workers and families must hold them responsible for property tax, electricity and water rate increases, fuel price increases. Workers and families must hold the PNM responsible for cutting the benefits to children, the laptops, remember those? Textbooks, gate, school feeding. But the worst of all, which I just said, is the baby grant. I brought that into effect when we were in government. I read in the newspapers a mother who went in a supermarket. I do not agree and condone people should steal, but the mother was so driven in paying when to take baby milk off a shelf. And I said that should never be happening in a country like Trinidad and Tobago. And I created that baby grant only for these people to come and lick it down. You've seen Stuart Young in the parliament talk about Kamla and the baby grant. Well, I am going to bring back that baby grant. I will bring it back. I will bring it back. I am a mother and a grandmother. And all mothers and grandmothers know, as do fathers, grandfathers, all of us as human beings, the one thing is for the survival of our children. That is how the human race continues to survive. If we do not take care of your young, who will take care of the young? Whom? We will, the UNC will, together with our coalition partners, we will. And now here we are. The famous, what Trump go do we, answer? What Trump go do we? Well, you find out now. You find out now. We have been warning the government. I don't gloat about that failure of the dragon gas, because anything that could help us to help our revenue streams is important and we support. But the UNC government will renegotiate with all our trading partners in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago. the PNM put all their eggs in Maduro's basket. We warned them about their dealings with Maduro. But I tell you, the UNC is not short-sighted. We have an economic plan. UNC has a master plan. We have 12 key strategic prosperity engines focusing on key development areas to help our country in the economic diversification trust. He spoke about it. That was a bad word to Rowley and his gang. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Look what has happened now. When that basket fall long, all gone. According to somebody who was a prime minister, he said, cuckoo, cook. Cuckoo, cook. He said that when this dragon dust collapsed, okay? So we have our plan. We have an economic transformation plan. We have the 12 key strategic pillars, and these are: 1, a Breccia Castle agro-processing complex; 2, St. Madeleine manufacturing facility; 3, an East-West biotechnology manufacturing corridor; 4, Sevilla Digital Innovation Park; 5, Tamana Solar Tech Renewable Energy; 6, West Port of Spain Trinidad Creative Arts Street Area; 7, East Port of Spain Steel Pan Manufacturing Facility. We should be selling steel pan to the rest of the world. We should be important for other countries. We should be selling that. That is the only acoustic instrument ever invented in the last century, the steel pan. And we have just given up on it. When I said it in the parliament, I remember sleepy man Hines get them and say, Kamla, what nonsense. And we already have a steel pan manufacturer. You know about any steel pan being manufactured here? There's a small facility. And this man in 10 years still believes we have a proper manufacturing facility for steel pan. So let's make it happen. East Port of Spain steel pan manufacturing facility. 8, Piarco aircraft maintenance, repair, and operations hub. Everyone should come here and then go elsewhere in the Caribbean. Used to happen, but we are fast losing that. Again, because of this wicked PNM government. 9, Cedrus Special Economic Zone. 10, Point Galeota Energy Logistics Hub. 11, Plymouth International Cruise Ship Marina Complex. 12, Tobago's first locally branded hotel in Tobago. So these are just some of the plans, and I just want to close. That is something I know is very close to your hearts, especially here in Central and as in other parts of the land. In 2010, when I was elected as your prime minister, one of the first things that I did in the cabinet, I authorized the withdrawal of the appeal against the decision of then Justice Dialsing, which permitted former colony workers to access residential land and agricultural plots. That was one of the first things we did when we were in government in 2010 and thereafter. Because the PNM Justice Dialsing said, yes, you have to give the colony workers residential and agricultural plots. That was the promise. And Dialsing ruled, and guess what? The PNM appealed. All the way they went. But I caused the withdrawal of that appeal by the government. I caused that appeal to be withdrawn. And because of that, we were able to distribute over 5,000 leases for 2-acre agricultural plots. We executed over 3,097 residential lots of deeds. 8,855 former colony workers were beneficiaries of lands under my government. In 2015, my government promised, we promised, and we keep our promises. We keep our promises. We promised former Carney private cane farmers a payment of $140 million as their final payment to transition out of the industry. We got monies from the EU to help the transitioning of the private cane farmers. And so, well, what happened? What happened? What happened? When we did that, we had to pay that money. We promised in 3 tranches. My government made the first payment of $30 million before the PM came into office in 2015. We did it in 2015, the first tranche. When they came into office, guess what? Rowley said not one red or black cent for them, none. None, and they stopped the tranches. They stopped the, not a cent more for the cane farmers. Since 2017, I have led a team of lawyers that have fought in the Magistrates Court, in the High Court, and the Court of Appeal to ensure that this money was paid to the former cane farmers. I want to thank and congratulate Attorney at Law Gerald Ramdeen, who has been at the forefront of fighting these matters in the courts. The PNM government, after we took them to court, Gerald and others, offered the cane farmers 53 cents on the dollar. Money that was theirs, offered after we went to court, 53 cents. You talk about 1 cent, Ms. Annisette, 53 cents on the dollar of monies that were sourced in 2015 to pay these private cane farmers. Tonight I commit the UNC will pay the cane farmers the entire outstanding sum of $110 million due to them. I say we keep our promises. That was a promise in 2015 before the PNM took office. But God does not sleep. God only wears pajamas from time to time. And today, and on April 28, God is giving us a chance to keep that promise to the farmers. As I close, I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to remind you all, especially wicked Vishnu Dan Paul and Stuart Young, that it is a working people, those who the labor movement represent, who are and will remain the economic and social foundation of our modern day democracy. You know it. The UNC was built from this powerful history, founded on labor's principles of equality, fairness, justice for the ordinary man and woman, on whose blood, sweat, and tears our nation was built and sustained from the labor movement. I say to you tonight, never fear, Kamla is here. May God bless you. May God bless you. I thank you very much.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Thank you to the Honorable Leader for that wonderful contribution. And as the next Prime Minister was speaking, I couldn't help but recall that right in this area, there was a company called ArcelorMittal. And that company was shut down And that company was represented by the immediate past Attorney General Reginald Armour, who would have advised that company against the workers. And today, up to now, not one worker from ArcelorMittal has received $1 for the service that they gave to that company. And up to now, not one worker from ArcelorMittal could say that they are assured of receiving a pension when they retire. But under a UNC government, that will be fixed. And I'm saying that will be fixed because workers must not ever have to suffer that kind of injustice again. Never. And Madam Political Leader, I really hope that the promise of election observers is not another practical completion. Because he promised it, eh? I really hope that is not another practical completion we're going to get. Because let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters. When a man is desperate, he does desperate things. And we cannot afford anything. We can't leave anything to chance in this election. And we demand those election observers on the 28th of April and even before that. And yet another practical completion. Comrade Roger, when they promised land for petrolhead workers, they promised land for petrolhead workers. And that too is another practical completion. Realize those practical completions. They're only promising and we're doing it. And nothing happening. Nothing is happening. So you have heard from us on this wonderful, esteemed August panel here tonight. And it is time for now for us to hear from you. So those of us who have questions, I want to invite you to the microphone, and I see my comrade and brother there is already set to ask his question. Yes, I just want to ask you to be brief as you come to the microphone, to be very brief because we do have a number of questions. And keep in mind that we are indeed on live TV and we need to finish by a certain time, and we'll try to answer all the questions as best as possible. So,
good night, everyone. And I just want to say good night to our mother of the nation and my past president, Leroy Baptiste. I don't want to ask questions. I want to tell you how powerful the union is. Without a union, there is nothing. Now, with a union, I was in the union for the past 15 years, PSA. And without a union, you are nothing. I was a chairman of the Presbyterian School section. And without the union, we had nothing going. When the union come in, we had things going up. My president here, he could vouch for that. All right? So be careful. And union is very important. I can tell you that for the past 15 years. I don't want to go long. I will go very short. People, the first thing when you get the 5%, they say, oh God, your sellout was 5% and 500 house, and I get one too. I get a place to live. A poor man like me from the UNC. From the UNC. We get somewhere to live. The poor people in other going to pay 20 and 40 and 60 and I didn't pay nothing. Under the past president, I get a place to live. I get about 14%.
Come on, can I ask you to just speed up your contribution, please?
And I'm almost done. I'm going now. I'm going to finish this. One thing I want to tell all you here before I leave. One thing. Everybody want to know why I just say the mother of the nation. The wicked PNM government, the only first thing they took away was children breakfast. I work in a school for 30 years. I can tell how children feel when they come in the school in the morning. How they say what? There's a cry for breakfast. So I am saying, the first thing the wicked PNM going, they rob the little children in all the schools. And our mother of the nation who talk about it, and that's how they get that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody who's coming to the microphone to please be quick.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My name is Dolartan Chatagon, 85 Esperanza Village, California. And Mr. Prime Minister, when you make Mr. Rudy Indar Singh the President of Trinidad and Tobago, when we form the government next month, right? That's the first thing you have to do. The next thing, you have to put Ms. Ansel Roger to lead the labor movement in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And the third thing is, you have to make sure that all carony workers, especially the daily paid workers, we are going to yet, girl. Sorry. We are going to yet 25 years now. Carony workers, get we land yet. What we going to do, boy?
That was already promised by the current Prime Minister. Thank you for your contribution, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution, sir.
Hi, good night, Prime Minister. Former Prime Minister to come, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and other comrades. My name is Arjun Singh. I'm a former Caroni 1975 worker for 43 years. Our dear Prime Minister just mentioned about the land distributed for Caroni staff and daily paid workers. But since you stopped, there is very little movement on the land distribution for the 2 acres plot and the 1 acre plot for Caroni workers, both staff and daily paid. So we want you to continue that. Secondly, the Association of Senior Staff in Caroni Limited had a matter in the industrial court regarding the bungalows which it was supposed to sell to us as part of a visa package. For this past 10 years, we have been going in and out the industrial court, running around by the PNM government, and they are not dealing with our matter over the years. 40 householders have died since then without no compensation, nothing at all, and still the matter has not been solved. So I am asking you all to take up that matter very humbly for all the staff and daily paid workers of Caroni 1975. I thank you. And when UNC win, everybody wins.
Thank
and
you,
when
sir.
UNC win,
Thank you,
Caroni
sir.
workers win.
Thank you. Again, I want to urge persons coming to the microphone to please be short in your contributions, ask a question or make a quick comment, and let's move on.
Good night, comrades.
Good night, comrade.
I want to acknowledge Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our next Prime Minister. UNC executive, trade union movement, Natu, Jitam, and brothers and sisters. My name is Sean Roberts from the Transport Industrial Workers Union. I am the President General. I want to bring something to you all here tonight. Workers asking me right now why TU is part of the collision of interests and why we gone political. I let them know here what's going on. I say for the past 10 years, you all have been living on 2014 salary. Right? I say, hey, what? 10 years going to pass, right? We haven't received not a cent, no back pay, no wages. What to do? I ask them what to do. What to do? I say, come on, I say, what's going on? If you're in a relationship, abusive relationship for 10 years, again, licks. You have options. You could stay, you could go by your mother, ask for advice. Your mother give you advice, you go by your father, your brother, your sister, your friend. And it's up to you to take the advice. Because at the end of the day, you could go back or you could leave. Yeah? We have to vote on the PNM. At the end of the day. MTS.
Come on, can I excuse us? Speed up a contribution, please. Speed up a contribution, please, comrade.
MTS hard working individuals have been working on 2014 salary. And that have to stop. And Persad-Bissessar gave us her word that when she become the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, she will fix that.
Thank you very much, comrade. Thank you very much, comrade.
Honorable Leader of the United National Congress, to the heads of the trade union movement, I am David Forbes, the General Secretary of the Postal Workers Union. I bring greetings from all postal workers across Trinidad and Tobago. Comrades, over the past 2 years, the Joint Trade Union movement, which the Leadership Council comprised in having discussions with the Honorable Prime Minister in waiting and other members of the executive of the UNC, would have had very good discussions over 2 years in regards to the workers' agenda. And having endorsed this workers' agenda, I want to say today that I am certain that workers across Trinidad and Tobago who are paying attention to what is happening will take the necessary action on the 20th of April 2025 and vote for the United National Congress and the coalition. But before I leave, I just want to also thank my dear brother and friend, Rudin Dar Singh, who has been a pillar of strength for the United National Congress in regards to labor. And he would have supported the Postal Workers Union in our struggles over many years. Also, our brother and friend, Comrade Wade Mark. I just have one question for the panel. The question is, what are your views on the tenure of the industrial court judges? Because we know that is a very serious issue, and I think one of the comrades would have spoken to that early on. What it is really going to happen to our industrial court. And we believe that with a turnover on the 29th of April 2025, we are going to see a rebranding of the industrial court in the way it's supposed to be rebranded. I thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Forbes.
Pleasant good evening to our future Prime Minister, members of the panel, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I know it is written, my name is Christian Siriju, ex-Petrotrin worker. I know it is written in this manifesto that the refinery will be restarted. But our over the 5,000 ex-employees of Petrotrin has two burning questions which we would like addressed. One is the pension plan. The last government promised, and as we heard earlier, promises never materialized. They promised to inject funds into the pension plan. That's one. And what is there in place regarding our medical plan? Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay, thank you. Before, thank you. Before we move on, you're a former Petrotrin worker, so I want you asking about the medical plans, which we did discuss. But there's another important issue. I spoke about the lands for the Caroni workers, and the UNC will also look into the matter of the promise to give Petrotrin former workers land. But I think it's very important for us to make that commitment here tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, a pleasant good night to you all. As a youth of this fine country, I would like to recognize our next Prime Minister, Ms. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, on August 28, 2025. My name is Safia Asia Mohammed. Now, I don't have a labor question per se, but mine is based in the medical industry. Now, most of us are not on CDAP. What are we going to do about the CDAP prospectus, right? Excuse me. So majority of us on CDAP some of the things on CDAP are being cut. Like we say for the diabetics, most medications are being cut. I'm a diabetic myself, and not all of us are able to spend money every single week behind medications. It does be very costly, and I am speaking from experience. With a family of 5 individuals, my both parents had heart surgery, and it does be quite challenging to find money to buy certain medication that are on CDAP and is cut because of the PM government. So I think I speak for everyone when I say vote them out on August 20th, 2025.
Thank you.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Andrew Musio. Good night, Ms. Bissessar. Good night, everybody. So, as a young person, I have a very serious question, right? So, like, I've been kind of disturbed at what our Prime Minister, Stuart Young, have been doing. And my question is there any new law you could form, or can you, adjust the law to prevent anyone from doing what Stuart Young have done? Because how can someone basically...
Sorry, son, what do you mean what Stuart Young has done? He's done so many things. Which one? Which one?
Yeah, well, my question is, how can someone basically be Prime Minister for a day? He wasn't appointed by the people democratically. He was basically hand-selected by his own party, right? So, how... It's a very serious question. So, how can... Correct, that is the question, right? How can someone basically be Prime Minister for one day and collect $87,000 in pension? It don't really make much sense, so that's my question.
Good question, good question. The maths, the PM maths, not maths, and that's all I can tell you. But I think you must be outraged, as we all are, and make sure on the 28th to vote him out. Vote him out.
I want to say a blessed good night to our dear audience, including our second term in office as Prime Minister come the 28th, Sister Persad-Bissessar. And I seen so much stalwarts here, Brother Wayne Mark, Brother Munilal somewhere around, and we can go on and on. I'm Mackenzie. I come from the community of Pointe-à-Pied. I am representing Pointe-à-Pied because we have no representative for the past 10 years in Pointe-à-Pied. We have an opposition in Pointe-à-Pied, and I'm short. What I'm saying here to us tonight and the rest of the country, not what our country could do for us, but what we can do for our country. And what we can do for our country is to let the world know, because we are not white supremacy, we are Indian supremacy to get what we need. So we join arms in arms, hearts to heart, because Claxton Bay is the only community do not have a community center. Claxton Bay is the only place do not have a school. To our children in St. Margaret's, Claxton Bay is going to school in Marabella. And Imbot and his boys is still talking about COVID. Every morning, these children, 8 years old to 11, have to jump in a bus to go to Marabella. Ms. Bissessar and the organization team, including the UNC, when we get, not if we get in government, but when we get in government, I'm looking forward for a school for Claxton Bay and a community center. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, let me just remind you before you begin to speak, we stand on the protocols. Let's save time and let's get to the questions or the comments urgently, please. Thank you.
Pleasant good night to all leaders, next future Prime Minister. What I have here to bring tonight is in terms of the pensioners, all the labor parties on the whole, all who work in labor, what is the future for the pensioners? Because it's 12 years now we're waiting on negotiations for raise pay on the whole. So we just want to know what is the future that holds for the pensioners and what it is could give. Because it's too long now we're going through the struggle.
Thank you.
A pleasant good night to our honorable leader, Ms. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. My name is Jamal Gera. I am 19 years. And also
Vote.
I want to
You
know...
could now, you're 19, you could vote.
Thank you very much. Also, I want to say our youths in schools all around the country, I was all over with you, seeing the kids need laptop, children in hospital are dying, also the crime, also seeing Dr. Keith Rowley is not doing nothing for Trinidad and Tobago, and also that I want to make sure that we come out here 2025 and make sure we vote for the UNC party very, very much.
Thank you. And you say yellow is the code. Okay, so let me thank all those who would have asked those questions, made those contributions. And I just want to give 2 minutes to each of the panelists to respond. And just to remind you what were the questions in case you want to respond to any specific one. The views on the tenure of the industrial court judges, CDAP perspectives and medications being cut, and how do people survive in terms of the cut in medication for CDAP. What can we do about somebody being prime minister for one day but enjoying pension for the rest of his life? And the future for pension and pensioners in Trinidad and Tobago. So, Comrade Roger, you first.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me deal with the first one. We have to restore confidence in the industrial court, where all stakeholders believe when they go to the court, they get justice. And the process as it obtains now for the appointment of judges, that has to be reviewed. You have a situation where the chairman of the ESD is selected and appointed by the cabinet and carries out the dictate of the cabinet. That is not fair. And he used that position to impose an unfair 4% over 6 years with no consolidation of COLA, and threaten the workers that if you don't take that, you will impose a 10-year agreement. We want to review the process by which we appoint judges. The other thing is to ensure that security of tenure for those judges. Those judges must not be on a contract and have to sing for their supper and therefore produce judgments that we don't have any confidence in. And therefore, we want to make sure that there's security of tenure for the judges. Indeed, a total overhaul of that industrial court for the sole purpose of having all of the stakeholders have confidence so that we can get higher levels of productivity in this country. The other thing is the medical plan. Let me adjust the medical plan. Now, you would have heard on diverse occasions, including here tonight, that we will have the restart of the refinery. When that happens, we will have to be providing medical plan and medical facility for the workers in the refinery. We will extend that to all of the retirees and all of the previous workers whose medical plan was taken away from them. Yeah? Over 800 workers under Stuart Young and Rowley died as a result of not having access to a proper medical plan to which they were entitled. But the same Rowley, supported by the same Gary Sobers, Stuart Young, supported Rowley to fly out to get the best medical treatment. We want good medical treatment for every single worker in this country.
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Roger. Comrade Annisette, your 2 minutes to respond if you have anything else that you want to say.
What I want to say, you're tested. Well, I was cut by Jesse, so I will continue now. Let me recognize...
Still have 2 minutes, eh?
Yeah, I know that. Let me recognize my friend and my comrade in the back there, the former president of NUGFW, Comrade Lambert. I think we need to give him some form of recognition. Yeah, having said that, and I agree with my comrade there because, I mean, what is happening in the industrial court there is nothing short but obscene, because I have a quote from the Privy Council, where the chairman of the essential service industry took a matter on his own to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council pronounced on it and say that is unheard of. Then we have another matter with the OWTU, where again the matter went to the appeal court, where this man take a note from cabinet and offered and give TNTech workers 0002 without allowing the company or the union to see the evidence, and therefore it was a fundamental breach of good industrial relation practice and the principle that governs an industrial institution like the industrial court. And finally, when you see somebody like Deborah Felix has been terminated, not in keeping with good industrial relation practices, you know that the industrial court needs to be overhauled, and the National Trade Union Center and Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union stand strong behind that there needs to be an overhaul of the industrial court to reflect the meaning of the institution of the industrial court.
Thank you very much. Come on, Annisette. Come on, Baptiste.
Yeah, comrades, let me just comment on three of the items. The industrial court. I too agree that the industrial court needs a complete overhauling in more ways than one. Not only with the appointment of the industrial court judges, but the abuse of injunctive relief that is aimed at stifling the workers from being able to give their voice to their own matters. Comrades, that had to be the treatment. We have to therefore look at the industrial court. In terms of medical plan, I want to use this opportunity to mention that this PNM government, besides corrupting the industrial court, have engaged in the most egregious act when it comes to medical plan, in particular for all workers, but the public officers. They are taking public officers' money and refusing to meet the expenses incurred when the officers make their claim. So mandatorily taking the public officers' money, and public officers have to wait as much as 2 years to get back a refund. Comrades, again, this must come to an end, and thank God for April 28th, when it will come to an end. And last but not least, pension. I hear the comrade talk about pension. I'm not too sure if it's just in general, but let me just make one point clear. Pensioners in the public service and the likes, that we as the, when it was my turn at the helm of the PSA, we resisted signing 4%. You know why? Because for pensioners, they were saying what? No increase for 2014, no increase for 2015, no increase for 2016, and no increase for 17 and 18. Comrades, no back pay for pensioners. That again will come to an end. Pensioners deserve an increase like everyone else. So vote on April 28th, when we will settle negotiations on behalf of all workers, including pensioners of this country.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Pensioners. And of course, the last word for tonight remains with the Prime Minister in waiting, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
Thank you very much. Some questions that you may have, that time will not permit full answers. I invite you to go up on the UNC website, the UNC Facebook. We are posting our plans there. So many things in your mind, that worry you you want to know about, please check the UNC Facebook, the UNC website. We are posting our plans and programs on that website. Before I go, I want to just raise one more point, not necessarily related to the discussions here this evening, but it has to do with elections, and others have mentioned it. You recall I had written to the former Prime Minister Rowley about election observers. You have mentioned that. Then I wrote to the incoming one-day Prime Minister and asked him to what's happening with election observers. And the next day he responded. They told us CARICOM is coming. They told us Carter Center is coming, and I think OAS, Commonwealth observers. Have you seen any of these people in Trinidad? So we are in the middle of an election season. I'm calling on the government to tell us what is the status with respect to the election observers. A UNC team went to the EBC on Monday, and EBC could tell us nothing. They knew nothing about election observers. You would have seen that we discovered a person campaigning with the Red Brigade flag and everything else. And our General Secretary, Peter Kanhai, made a complaint to the EBC, and she was removed from being a returning officer. So as you get more info, anybody please send it to us, because the election will be won fairly or falsely. So we must all be prepared. We must all be ready. So I'm asking anything you see, funny business, let us know, let your candidates know, let our union leaders know to ensure. And tonight, again, I call on the government. Please give the country an update on the status of the election observers. We cannot allow you to sit there and thief the election. We will not allow you to steal this election. So guys, keep your eyes and ears open. Be ever vigilant. I thank you all. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep every one of you and your families. And when we meet again, I think our next meeting is in Mayaro on Saturday. Then we'll have our Monday night meeting. So we shall meet again, God willing. God bless you, and thank you very much. Thank you.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mom. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell no more red, no more rain, no more red, no more rain, no left foot, right foot again. No more struggle, no more strain, no more pain. We want to see we way, we want a brighter day. No more Rowley again. Bye bye Rowley, bye bye. Bye bye Rowley, bye bye. We're not voting for you. We're tired of the bloodshed, tired of the taxes, tired of the potholes and all the excuses. Tired of no water, tired of stretching at the law, tired of the high grocery bills. No left foot, right foot again. No more struggle, no more strain, no more pain. We want to see we way, we want a brighter day. No more Rowley again. Bye bye Rowley, bye bye. Bye bye Rowley, bye bye. We're not voting for you. We're tired of the bloodshed, tired of the taxes, tired of the potholes and all the excuses. Tired of no water, tired of stretching at the law, tired of the high grocery bills. No left foot, right foot again. No more struggle, no more strain, no more pain. We want to see we way, we want a brighter day. No more Rowley again. Bye bye, Rowley. Bye bye. Bye bye, Rowley. Bye bye. We're not voting for you. No more red. 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 No left foot, right foot. Again. No more struggle, no more strain, no.
And of course, we are back with you. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, share the live, WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook. Subscribe. WZYE TV on YouTube. And you can reach us here at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444.
I see my mic was muted, but also 973-609-6509, 973-609-6509. And remember to tell a friend, share the live.
Yeah, well, we listened to that community meeting there. And of course, information is being shared. You know, you can let me take this voice note. Hold on.
It is so dirty-ish. Because if the people with the authority and the wherewithal don't do anything, you hear, they do nothing. They do nothing. If they do, you hear, that is election gimmick. That is election gimmick. So what should happen? What should happen? Well, let's see how they're wasting airtime, boy. Eh?
You wasting our airtime for us to be listening to you. Save our ads, please, Wall Street.
Moral. Eh?
Wall Street, save our ads.
No, let him finish, man. Let him finish.
Soccer,
Let him
not
finish.
football. Soccer. You ain't think so, boy? Oh, go allow Trinidad and Tobago to breathe a little bit now, please. Good night, eh?
Nah, let him finish, man. You know, I mean, you know what did Dr. Williams say again? Lady what? What did he say to me? You remember that?
Yeah, he said, let Jackass pray.
All right, you know. Trendsetter, welcome. Caribbean Soul, Gordon Malone, this is election season, not duty season. Bitcoin, welcome.
All right, Professor Wall Street and Uncle Tony. That man have a bad banker for you, you know. He's supposed to be hugging up his wife, eh? He leave his wife to come on this station. The whole night he just send a message, you know, he watching.
Yeah.
And he come to talk. He had nothing else to do, boy. That man have it bad for you. The banker bad. Oh gosh, boy. Gordon Dryden, boy. I wonder where your wife will be staying when you have so much time for Wall Street. Eh? If I tell you get married to Wall Street, Wall Street don't rock, you know? Listen, all Stuart Young, the political leader, the PLM, the one, the Prime Minister, as they call him. The T20 man. All he can do is teach people idea, you know. He teach an idea with the public service and say he could pay all these public servants and take away taxes from all these other things. All in the UNC manifesto before, you know. He just piggybacking on the people and them promises and taking it for himself. And now he say he gonna build up 3,000 houses or how much?
Yeah.
I go to the one yeah. All these dilapidated houses that they leave there for the last 10 years. What they gonna do with that? They're gonna turn it into a museum or some sort where people can come and visit and say that is the taxpayer money gone and wasted. Start do a video on that, you know, or Pune or some one of them places. And the amount of houses I see there Man, it's something, they should invite Hollywood over here, and let them do a zombie movie in it. Because it's looking like something out of apocalypse, to tell the truth. You made them houses, and everything from the houses gone, the fittings, all that, all the scene is a skeletal remains of the buildings there. And it's 20 buildings. And you tell me you're going to build that. What are we wasting taxpayer money behind these things for? Refurbish these housing units and give it out to the public, right? You're costing the HTC more money than they have to spend. But yet you want to politicize thing. I say you're going to give out 3,000 houses. I don't understand them and people voting for that nonsense. I see the new fella on Iowa station today. He getting a lot of new people calling him on his station. I fella named Irwin.
Yeah.
And I find doing good for the. I hear you call Irwin today, Mr. Wall Street.
Yeah. You're doing very good.
And a lot of people, regardless of what affiliation or party you have, the man entertaining everybody. He even entertained that leech matter.
Yeah.
He tried to sidetrack the man show. People calling in to vote, but he calling to talk about that sort of rhetoric about 10 years and 15 years and whatever back in time. Save me from that back in time party, die way back when. We don't want to hear nothing about that. We want to hear about the 9-10 years here that your party had this country, and that like George Floyd, the foot on his neck, the choking we, the strangling we. You can't see me way. And to get 5 more years of that, with no dragon gas deal or anything like that, you know, is that tighten your belt, your back, your spine go break when you see that down there. I tell you, boy, I don't know to say that, but this country need a real wake up and a change up. I'm hoping that, these 17,900 parents who said yes here, they will think twice and vote for the yellow on the 29th. Yellow is the code because them children need to move into new technology. They need to get laptops, you understand, to propel them into the future because that's what the future is, in technology. If we had that going all through the years, these children would have been technology savvy. Not to say that they ain't, but the kind of technology driven children we have now, it would have been very high, and we would have been up with the top countries in the world as far as technology driven education is concerned. And hopefully these parents could do the same and vote for the yellow and get this right out of me. Out of office. How about good?
All right, bless. So, folks, here's my editorial with respect to the election gimmick by the PNM on the 300,000, whoever it is. Okay. Caller, welcome.
On the 300,000.
Caller.
Okay. Caller, welcome. On the 300.
Caller, welcome. Caller.
Hi, good night, Mr. Washington, Uncle Tommy, man.
Good night. What's happening?
Good night to my boy, the Bitcoin there, Tunji, Brooklyn, everybody keep on happy friends. Mr. Washington, you see that meeting there, boy?
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the program, you take it to see policies.
Yeah.
I know flip and listening to them PNM, they know them still blaming Kamla and them on that platform is only bacchanal and junk talk.
Yeah. You don't get nothing out of that. Hey, KFC, you know what? If I go and listen to a PNM program, I only have to use 5% of my brain. When I go and listen to them, 5% of my brain I just use. So
I'm going to keep in bondage and propaganda and lies. No policy that they bring to the table. We'll talk about 2010 and 2015.
correct. That's why I only utilize 5. If I listen to it, I only utilizing 5% of my brain. I ain't getting nothing out of it. Nothing. You don't get nothing out of that.
Mr. Washer, you know election gimmick? You know, went up in Mova today and show house.
Huh? Yeah?
Yeah. You see it?
No, I ain't see it. You have it?
There's all in news.
No, I ain't see it.
So people who suffered all 30, 20 years was on the waiting list. They get us no election time. Now PNM keep putting on election time.
Yeah, boy.
So fire peacefully, boy. Mr. Washer, I look to
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, folks, here's my editorial on the PNM election gimmick. Take a listen.
The PNM's latest housing promise, an election gimmick disguised as a youth rescue plan, an editorial by Professor Wall Street. Just weeks before the April 28th general election, Prime Minister Stuart Young has unveiled what he touts as a transformative youth housing initiative. 3,000 home lots, complete with infrastructure, house plans, and financial accessibility. At first glance, it sounds like a dream come true for many struggling young citizens. But dig a little deeper, and it becomes clear. This is a desperate, last-minute election gimmick designed to woo an increasingly frustrated electorate. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago should not be fooled. For 9 years, Stuart Young sat at the highest levels of government as minister in various powerful portfolios, including national security, energy, and the office of the Prime Minister. At no point during that time did he or his party roll out this grand housing initiative. Why now? Why unveil such a sweeping plan mere weeks before an election? Here are 10 reasons why this proposal is not only suspicious in its timing, but also a textbook political ploy. 1. 9 years, no action. Stuart Young and the PNM have been in government since 2015. Why has it taken 9 full years to suddenly realize that young people need housing assistance? What changed other than the looming threat of an election loss? 2. The HDC backlog is still a crisis. The Housing Development Corporation, HDC, has an estimated backlog of over 200,000 applicants. If the government can't meet its obligations to current applicants, what credibility does it have promising 3,000 new lots for construction? 3. No budget, no timeline. The Prime Minister offers no concrete budget, no implementation timeline, and no details on funding sources for the project. It's all sizzle, no steak, designed to dazzle, not deliver. 4. The economy can't sustain it. With rising debt, stagnant growth, and high inflation, where will the funds come from? Is this another case of overpromising without any financial groundwork? 5. This is a pattern of election gimmicks. This is not the first time the PNM has rolled out vote-baiting promises before an election. From housing schemes to job initiatives, we've heard it all before. How many were actually implemented? 6. Young's role as PM is not yet legitimate. Let's not forget, Stuart Young is not an elected Prime Minister. He was installed after Keith Rowley's resignation. That raises questions about his mandate and the legitimacy of policies announced during the election period. 7. Distracting from national scandals. This announcement conveniently comes at a time when the country is reeling from high crime, public sector unrest, and corruption allegations. The housing plan is a diversion tactic, plain and simple. 8. Failure in youth job creation. Young admitted that government can't provide jobs for everyone, but in 9 years, where is the proof that they even tried? Youth unemployment is at crisis levels, and now they claim to care? 9. Disingenuous timing with MILAT and education reform. Suddenly, education reform and technical vocational training are top priorities. The PNM has had nearly a decade to reform CXC or expand MILAT. These are not new ideas, they're repackaged platitude. 10. Tobago is an afterthought. Despite promising a Tobago expansion of the housing initiative and MILAT, the details are vague. Why is Tobago always an afterthought in national planning, only surfacing when elections threaten PNM strongholds? In conclusion, This is not a plan, it's a performance. It's political theater, staged for applause, not action. Trinidad and Tobago deserves real leadership with a proven track record, not last-minute promises from a government clinging to power. The people are not gullible. They know that meaningful change doesn't come in the final hour of a failing administration. The time has come to vote for a government that prioritizes long-term development, honest governance, and actual delivery, not gimmicks. Let's not fall for the same trick twice.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My editorial on that election gimmick by the PNM. You got to give them credit. They're real good enough. They're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're doing what they have to do.
Yeah, they're doing what they have to do, man. They. Hey, Caribbean Soul, don't forget to send your 13th. You gotta send your 13th thing. Caller, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening to one and all.
Yeah.
And I would like to throw in about 4 or 5 points. If not interrupted, it shouldn't be longer than is necessary. I'm listening to everybody in terms of this is the time when there are all kinds of offers from all the different parties, what they will do, what they will not do. And that's common. Some people act like if it's so strange, like if it's, hey, this is the eighth wonder of the world, That's common, right? What you hope is that what they offer, if they have the opportunity in terms of winning the governance, the front bench of the government, that deliver. Yes, I am disappointed. The kind of offers that I would have heard from the PNM, the 2020, there are some of them that, the Wi-Fi, and a couple other things. But equally so, I'm disappointed. 2010 offers that were made, 2-term, fixed date election, the poor old people and them, they were promised something and then only to be told it was a mistake. Gosh, but old people, boy. Old people, boy. So people are always promising, but not always delivering. So you could put your pot on the fire. Don't care who end up with more seeds than the other. There are things that you will never see. Because it's what sometimes they do is they do things that we want to hear them say they're going to do. And they do it. All right? And I don't know what's the difference between a politician making a promise and not honoring it, and a talk show host making a promise and not honoring it. I'm not too sure what is the difference. All right? Also, I am glad that there are platforms where people have the opportunity to share their views. It might be wrong like a O, but it might be right as the opposite of left. So one's got to listen, and if it's stupidness, just let it go. Let it go. If it's something that has some kind of value, some kind of wood, we'll look into it and see if we could work with it. At the end of the day, at the beginning of the night, I think it should always be what is best for Trinidad and Tobago, not what is best for PNM or UNC, or a talk show host, or a caller, or a texter. What is best for Trinidad and Tobago? And I think if we take that kind of approach, we're going to have less lies telling, mud pelting, and misquoting out of context sometimes what is said. Last but not least, this is a platform where at the start of it, you hear about the quality that the listeners will be getting. But I hear somebody talking about somebody's wife. She don't call in on this program. She don't message on this program. She had nothing to do on this program. You understand? But they're talking, but I could tell him, my wife
has been my wife since 1984. We have 3 lovely children and 3 lovely grandchildren. All right? And we've been good like that. All right? And if you want to know how we make out, well, I gotta give it that privately. I wouldn't want to put that on air. You understand? Because Papa, the kind of man I am, I will give you details, you know. I have no problem with that, you know. I don't have a problem with that, you know. And I honestly feel that a host should not encourage that kind of thing. You see, once it go down to that kind of level, they should say, hey, we're not going into that kind of thing. Unless, of course, the host ain't no big different. You understand? Because when it come out, you'll have cat.
Thank you very much.
And I feel that.
Thank you very much.
Pardon?
Yeah. Dean Khan says promises never materialize. God done campaigning for the UNC. Yeah. So Tommy, did you hear about caller welcome?
Hey, good night, Mr. Anthem. Good night, Mr. Tommy. Good night, all the callers, all the texters, everybody on the live, everybody. Happy to see everybody here on a Tuesday through God's grace. Mr. Anthem.
Yo.
Anytime you have your program, right? You see a dog where you have, try and put it outside now because they're seeing it back in. Anyhow. So, Mr. Anthem, this man, Stuart Young, the so-called Prime Minister, non-elected.
Yeah.
You know, all the money people spend for the card, the PM card, $1,000, they get the opportunity to vote. But anyhow, you see, you remember when it had the vaccination and the other Prime Minister made the whole senior citizens line up in the rain?
Yeah, I remember
no
that.
Chair, nothing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then they just talk about it, okay, about over it, and then come on the platform and say, I will take the blame for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But Mr. Anselm, they're giving up all these houses and all these stuff and then they say if UNC win, the money go devalue. Where they get the money to do all this?
I don't know.
But then they say in the UNC go devalue the money 15 to 1. And you know what's the funny thing about it? This man, the so-called Prime Minister, right? Coming on a platform every night, speaking. And the man not talking about diversification. All right, the drug and gas deal squash. He's still talking about going to negotiate. It's not to negotiate. The only person who can negotiate, let me explain something to them. Anybody who used to deal with the past administration in America, this present administration wants nothing to do with them. If he was friends with the past administration, he didn't want nothing they were new. And he would come, and this Prime Minister, Mr. Young, will come on the platform and speak all type of things. He said he don't speak, he don't read from a script. But when he was talking about the food prices, he had to read on a script. You had to watch the paper to see the prices. Because you don't know. You see, he far disconnected from the population who feel any burden. And a lot of people understanding now, hey, I was making a mistake than voting for party, you know. And they're changing their mind. And like the previous caller say, you see how they speak the truth, right? But at the end of the day, the truth for some who are uneducated is be lies for the educated.
Thank you. Thank you. Caller, welcome. Caller. Mr. Atlanta, welcome. Hello.
Good evening, Wall Street.
Good evening.
Tommy, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Atlanta. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Atlanta.
I heard you read out your advertisement for the PNM. I mean, what Stuart Young had to say. And those are promises, right?
Yeah.
But you and I and everybody, I think, know a promise is a comfort to a fool So you read out. You just said you use 2% or 5%. Sorry, of your brain when you listen to anything PNM and thing. But you read out so long, that long set of promises, and you know the meaning of a promise. It's a comfort to a fool. So even you reading it out sounds so silly. You know what I mean? How, like, you educated people to be fools, more foolish than they are. You have to take that and drink a cup of tea or coffee or whatever and let that pass. Right? Because remember it's 5%, of your brain cells you use. If I use 2% when I listen, it's plenty. You use 5. And you bring it up to remind Gordon Joseph that you promised him something. And up to now, and you're bringing up all these kind of things. Now I have to remember what it is Maloney Joseph was promised. You just put a big thing with UNC. Behind you has UNC. In front of you has PNM. Why? We shouldn't be seeing nothing about these people you advertising for them. You should ask us what we think about what just went on in the UNC meeting.
Yeah, but Miss Atlanta,
Yeah.
Miss Atlanta, sometimes it'll be so unfair, because you know on the phone, if you want to talk about anything, this is your opportunity to talk about what you want to talk about. So you can talk about. I'm giving you the opportunity to talk about what you want to talk about, and we here give other people the opportunity to listen to what we want to bring to them.
I don't talk about other people. I want to talk about you.
About me?
And I'm speaking about you because that's my main focus here. Because I'm getting my education from you.
Well, and that's right. So part now is for me to educate you that the current Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is bringing lies to the people. So if all you hear,
yes.
You go ahead.
Well, okay.
You go ahead.
I listened to you. And I got the education. I'm telling you, why are you educating me about you said it, you said you only use 5% of your brain cells.
Correct.
So
Correct.
how come, man, a professor using 5% of his brain cells coming to educate us?
No. You misunderstand. You misunderstood what I said. You totally misunderstood what I said. When I listen, like those press conferences they have, when I listen to those, I only use 5% of my brain. When I listen to those.
Oh, good.
You see, I know. So then Miss Atlanta tells me that you're not listening properly then.
Of course not. When anytime you say PNM, you remember my brain click off. But sorry, that's me. So I'm not saying it is other people. Remember, you have a wide range of people. They could call in and say what they want to say.
But that's why I say you're being unfair.
Don't go off on other people if I'm speaking to you.
But that's why I'm saying you're being unfair. Because you didn't listen properly and you want to blame me for you not listening properly. That's unfair. That's unfair. That's not fair.
Remember, all I heard you start the program, but you only listen to 5% when you listen to the PNM, whatever they say, whatever it is they say, right?
Okay.
Once you only listen to 5%, I realize you're coming to tell us 5% of your brain work. When you should be expounding, because I know you have a big brain, right? And I'm not unfair.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Atlanta. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Wall
you.
Street.
Thank you. Caller, welcome. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Answer, listen, we living in America, right?
Yeah.
We living in America. Why we had to come to fight each other when we not facing that with the facing here? We have one buildings to face in America here. But we fight because we are all Trinidadians. But we not supposed to come on the radio talk show to fight. Right? I make a mistake the other day and I get on with going Joseph and I apologize for that and I won't do that again because I was wrong. It's they live in there, we live in America. So we feeling the burden in America. Yeah, they feeling the burden in Trinidad. When we had to go down that road, your whole program changed with that conversation just now with Mr. Alanta. Mr. Alanta, sorry to say, but sometimes you can't get on Mr. Anselm. Mr. Anselm is just the host, seeing his point of view, deal with the people in business in Trinidad, and we just follow up. He give us the opportunity to call and say wherever we want. But then when we talk about different things, when you show something, we carry the program now a different path. Come on, we live in America. Let me fight for the people in Trinidad. I'm not coming home to vote because I can't get time off to come home and try. So I just have to support them the way I could work on this.
Thank you. Let's take a listen.
We never shut down Petrotrin. So when you hear the UNC still with their lies about how PNM shut down Petrotrin, I want each and every one of you to tell you that is a damn lie. This PNM government did not shut down Petrotrin. You go and check the facts from 2010 to 2015 under the UNC. Production of oil at Petrotrin was collapsing.
Stand by.
Caller, welcome. Caller, financial guru.
Hello, Mr. Wall Street.
Yeah, come in.
And Mr. Tom, Uncle Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Are you all hearing me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead. Make your contribution.
I have a question.
Okay,
Miss
go ahead.
Atlanta, is she a widow?
Caller, hold on. Caller, hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
He's asking if Miss Atlanta is a widow.
If Miss Atlanta is what?
Is a widow.
I
We don't have that information.
She could call back and.
Okay, I was wondering, because the way she coming at Wall Street.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Okay. Tommy, who
All
was
right.
that? Caller, welcome. Who was that?
Yeah, good night.
Go ahead.
Good night.
Caller, go ahead.
Good night. Yeah, good night, Uncle Tommy. Good night, Professor Wall Street and everyone.
Go ahead.
So, Professor Wall Street, I have been listening more to the and I hope you would just bear with me tonight because I'm trying to give everybody we have to deal with the past to make sure the future doesn't repeat itself. So I'm not beating up on anybody, but when you are highlighting these things with Stuart Young and the promises never materialize, I want to go back to a couple of projects, which if we put God out of our thoughts and put the PNM back in power, we will be in serious trouble. Today, there was an article I was going to send you, but I know you were probably busy and I was very busy. The Tobago Hoteliers Association, I think it's on the Guardian or the Express, has a new president. And Easter right now, the Hoteliers Association is saying that it's going to be down 50%. Now, I have been hearing on the stump speech of the PNM regarding the Sandals Resort. And I want to tell people, and I just want to go through quickly, if we put good all the thoughts, what we could expect, because Stuart Young is bringing back Butch Stewart's son, Adam, and the fact is, Dr. Rowley, former Prime Minister, the reason why that Sandals project was busted was because we were going to finance that project with about 7 billion TT, and we have 143 billion debt. We have a 77% debt to GDP. So I want people like Miss Atlanta, I'm not knocking anybody, to listen. If you do, you want to learn something, then I'm a person about facts and numbers. Now, the last project that they had, that when Stuart Young came on the hustings and saying it was Farley and Watson Duke, it wasn't no Farley and Watson Duke.
This project was a 1,000-room project. It was beaches and sandals. And sandals would contribute no capital. This is why this is back in 2019. And I'm going to go quickly. The agreement had generous tax holidays. And he wants to bring back this guy, and I hope he brings him with money. Whoever comes back in power, and I hope is Mrs. Persad. Duty-free concessions and work permit flexibility. The lands were going to be contributed by the Trinidad and Tobago government. And it was estimated to cost between 750 to 900 million. That is before COVID. If they had taken out a loan at 6% over a 15-year term, it would have cost between 1.36 and 1.63 billion. And Adam and his father at that time would have no downside on anything because they were just contributing. The sandals was going to be built in Boko. It was 100%. I want people to listen. 100% debt financing. As I said, I've worked in capital markets and I've worked in public project finance. You do not finance anything by 100% because you go like the way of Nikon that had only 10 million in about a $1.8 billion project. The hotel had 1,000 rooms. I want people to listen carefully. And bear with me, Professor. There was no other project. Listen to this carefully. No other project in the Caribbean had this structure. None whatsoever. No public funding was required for construction in these projects. So it means sandals and beaches had to contribute their own capital, come up with equity, come up with debt financing. Adam Stewart was here in 2020, talked about 2024. He went to St. Vincent and he provided his own capital. Now, Stuart Young had said that they're going to provide their own capital. And I hope if Mrs. Bissessar comes in, that if Sandals has to come in, they're going to bring their own money. This was a significant deviation because it put 100% risk on the government and on the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Sandals would earn profits from a resort it didn't fund, and it had a caveat in that MOU, Professor Walsh and everyone, that they had first right of refusal to buy the property from the government of Trinidad and Tobago. So we were putting up all the money and taking all the downside. Now, here's what would create even more problems. Tax exemption would further reduce any revenue. There was no guarantee of local managerial employment because Sandals was bringing in people. And this is in the context back in 2019. If you didn't know, they had only 19,000 people coming to Trinidad and to Tobago in 2019, Professor Wall Street. We had only 10.5 billion in 2015, and it was about 6 billion. Now it's only about 5.3 billion. So now we have budget deficits, and Stuart Young was talking about investing with Sandals. Lack of transparency was in that project that Rowley was bringing. One-sided government builds Sandals profits. Because let me tell you something, when Sandals comes in, Sandals, before they share the revenue and the profits, they have to take out a group administrative cost for all the Sandals in the Caribbean and beaches. There was no feasibility study, no environmental or employment and tax concerns were ignored. TNT would have done the land and infrastructure only, and we should have had a better public-private initiative. So in the end, because I don't want to take up all the time, when you look at what this project would have brought, you remember back in 2020, I'm going to leave you with this, we had COVID and prices went up. So that project would have been pushed to maybe about 1.3 to 1.5 billion for cost overruns due to COVID. When you work out all the numbers, when I look at the numbers, Professor Wall Street and Uncle Tommy, we would have had to pay about 93.5 million USD annually. And when you look at the EBITDA, the earnings before interest, taxation, and amortization, the revenue, and what Sandals would take when they take the 10 or 20% administrative costs, that project would have been not viable. It would have taken between about 50 years. I Anil Roberts saying it's 99 years.
All right, caller, leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there.
But I'll leave it with this, Professor Wall Street.
Yeah.
We have to deal with the past to deal with the future.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Yeah, man. Bless. Let me take this voice note. Hold on, let me try to get this voice note. All right, something wrong with his voice note. Okay, let me try this.
Good night, Mr. Washington, Uncle Tommy. Mr. Washington, number 13th of the UNC accomplishment. This one is a very short one. This one is the 27,000 pounds of tilapia for food production. There was a collaboration with CPEP where they built these floating cage rafters to mine tilapia, and the aim was to reduce the food import bill. The other aim was to get 27,000 pounds of tilapia every single year. So that is number 13 of the UNC accomplishment.
Took myself out of there by mistake, folks. Sorry about that. So, folks, let me see if there's any other voice notes. Yeah. Mr. Florida, I hear you, but you know what? Sometimes you just have to leave well alone, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, Tommy, we had the Prime Minister saying to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I was going to play this editorial, but I'm going to keep it for Sunday. I'm going to keep the editorial for Sunday. Okay. The PNM was talking, saying that how the UNC was going to devalue the dollar, right? They was going to say they were going to devalue it from $1 from $7 or $6 something to $15, which is double the price. And that just doesn't make any sense. Really and truly. If you know economics and they're going to devalue the dollar, you mean you go from $6, devalue it 100%? How that could make any sense?
The sycophants, that makes all the sense in the world.
Say that again?
The sycophants, that's good sense.
Yeah. I don't understand how anybody could think about it and say them go devalue the dollar to $15.
They know the people they're talking to don't think. They know who they're talking to don't think. They're thinking for them.
And they go fall for that. So let's take a listen to this.
UNC opposition leader Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar says no devaluation under my watch. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar has dismissed Prime Minister Stuart Young's claims that the Trinidad and Tobago dollar will be devalued under her leadership, saying her administration will find money through prudent spending, economic diversification, and job creation to execute plans. Speaking after filing her nomination papers at the Superior Returning Office on Mary Street, Superior yesterday, Persad-Bissessar said, "That is not true. The Prime Minister made a Freudian slip. Devaluation is what they're planning to do, not us. They have not diversified the economy. They have crippled oil and gas. And if they didn't call elections before the budget, they would have devalued." She revealed that her team had already prepared a full economic plan to restart the dwindling economy. When asked to comment on how she planned to finance projects if returned to office, Persad-Bissessar said, "Go on the website and look at our plans. In 2010, we found the money and we will do it again. We will cut out waste and unnecessary expenditure. Money has been wasted under this government and there is nothing to show for it." She said the People's Partnership had proven its ability to find revenue and fund projects before adding, "We have a track record. We will create jobs and increase revenue streams. We will find new ones. We did it before and we will do it again." Persad-Bissessar also criticized government's $1 million payout to the families of 4 divers who died in Paria's pipeline and the lone survivor, Christopher Budrum. "So many years and they could not find compensation. I called on them to do it. I said if they didn't do it, we would. But now, just before the election, they find money. Where did they get it from? How did they arrive at that figure? Did they pull it out of a hat?" She called the payout too little, too late, and suggested it could amount to election bribery. "It is a shameless action. Why didn't you pay them before?" she asked. Persad-Bissessar also accused government of engaging in secret meetings with Venezuelan officials, warning of the implications of those relationships. Stewart went to Venezuela several times secretly. Nobody knows what he went for. There's no discussion about the meetings. Delcy Rodriguez was brought in secretly, and I exposed that. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy, she added. If they continue with this, no good will come out of it, she added. She vowed to assist nationals first. Home first, yes, TNT first, but no man is an island. We will have to cooperate with CARICOM and Extra CARICOM internationally. Persad-Bissessar also confirmed that changes were necessary for the upcoming election. This included a swap between Faizabad MP Dr. Lakram Bodo and Orapuch West MP Davendranath Tanku. Tanku is originally from Faizabad and Lakram Bodo lives close, so it made sense. There will always be people unhappy, but the majority are happy, she said.
Caller, welcome. Bitcoin, welcome.
Good night again, Uncle Tommy and Mr. Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my partner gun driving. They vexed me, right, for saying things about your wife. I mean, no disrespect to your wife, yeah? All I was asking, you know, how he does make out, or how she does make out with he. Seeing that he's a fella, always want answers. He want answers right away. And he always coming down on you every program. That is what I asked. Me, I no disrespect to the woman. But he did make a good point, you know, he could write a book. So what I advise him to do, instead of wasting time here, start writing your memoir or your book, whatever. It might become a bestseller, you could never tell. Whatever raunchy thing you have to put in the book. Not yours especially. You write your book. You never know it could be a next bestseller, you know. Because you can put it on the map, right? But he was talking about the regime, the People's Partnership, making promises to people and breaking it, right? With the election campaign in 2010. But in this government here, they found a set of people who had children with cerebral palsy, a set of differently able people who were collecting food card and not food card illegally, legally. They made them sign back up for these food cards, and they took these people off those food cards. I know people personally were paralyzed from the neck down, depending on those food cards to purchase whatever goods they need to buy. You understand, to help themselves out. And they took it away without any remorse. And Miss Donna Cox came on a television newscast and said she saved the government of trying to make X amount of money because people were double dipping.
Yep.
That is disgusting. Disgusting for a woman of her credibility to come and see them kind of thing, especially when she said that how these people double dipping, they sign up for these things, you know. And when it was yesterday, when she was in Port of Spain viewing some building that the Ministry of This woman came on the air and said the homeless population is on the decline. I want to know which she counting people on. She said there's less homeless people in the country than there were before. Really? I want to know how, if she went and count them herself. Because far as I hear, there are more people outside here begging and loitering all around the place. In fact, they call one bank a hotel for these people, these individuals who stay overnight there and sleep there, right? And I mean, she misinformed that the entire ministry. In fact, as I'm concerned, because the amount of mischief she has done there, she has downgraded people who could get grants. They cannot get any grant because they put a ceiling on these individuals. No grants for them. If they apply, they're under a ceiling now, so they cannot apply for any of the appliances grant or glasses grant or most of the stuff that they would necessarily get. And these grants come every 2 years. They can apply for stuff to get, to get necessities where you want to get. But they stop it entirely, so they cannot apply for anything there anymore. And she has been a stranger to the truth since she become minister in that ministry. That is all I concern about. And before I go, this project that the minister, the prime minister taking on, there were these 3,000 starter homes and all that.
Yeah.
That is John Humphrey deal. That is Susulan all over. John Humphrey was giving out that in the was in office. And I mean, they was giving out that as Susulan project. He just take that and doctor it over. So everything this man taking, he just only cleaning it up, wiping it up, and putting it out as he own. But that's other people's ideas. He's been proving that. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. Folks, put your closing comments in the chat and send your closing voice notes as well as your closing quotes. Put your closing quotes in the chat and closing message. Also, send your closing voice notes. Yeah. I hear you, Mr. Florida. Imagine Reverend Donna Cox, Lord help us. Yeah, think it easy. But Tommy.
Yeah.
There is a saying that if you try to please everybody, you're in big trouble.
That's correct.
If you try to please everybody, you're in big trouble. So you know what? You have to please yourself to make you happy. Right?
Yep.
Please yourself to make you happy. Happiness, when you want some happiness, you only get happiness from yourself. And you could give happiness to other people. Yeah? Right? So, all you just take it easy. What's that? If the PM did that just how you said it was wrong, but I know like many other things, some people were getting what they were not supposed to get. I don't know what you're talking about. KFC, welcome. You have a minute before we go for the break. Yeah.
I'll take a thing. People are just happiness, so they try to make you unhappy.
Yeah.
Come with the facts and the truth.
That is it.
If they want to think that about the pyramid, they can flip and go somewhere else. But Mr. Washington, your fashion short term say the UNC closed down Patrician, not the PRM.
Oh God. That fella, you think Rowley used to lie? Short Young look like he pick up right where Rowley line was, He pick up right where that man used to lie, boy. Nothing is too small to thief, trendsetter. Folks, let's take that break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZY 95.9 FM. We come to every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. Don't forget, folks. Don't forget. Yellow is the code. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Welcome to WZYE TV 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. on Let's Talk Politics. Like, share and subscribe to keep up to date with reality affecting your life, and as we always say, we bring the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Listen closely. Stuart Young is bolted to Venezuela's Maduro. If you take God out of your thoughts to vote for Young, you better brace for U.S. sanctions, say goodbye to U.S. visas, say goodbye to U.S. dollars for business, medicine, traveling, online shopping. Put yourself and your loved ones first.
It's time to rise up Trinidad and Tobago.
Enough is enough.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. Vote UNC.
I retired in 2002. When I retired, my pension was $1,000 from NIS. When Mr. Bissessar came into power in 2010, my pension rose to $3,000. Now I'm hearing PNM say, if you have money saved, they could take away your pension. I can't wait to vote UNC again. When UNC wins, senior citizens like myself win.
Everybody say,
Everybody say Kamla.
come in. Every vote for UNC, peace and prosperity. We can secure we family right here in TNT. Say everybody know, this is the whole show. Who will ask all the tax and give the children laptops is? Who we voted?
Yes, we voted for Kamla.
Every UNC family! Where's the flag? Where's the flag? Sing it out! Who?
Yes, we voted for Kamla.
Say Kamla.
Everybody say Kamla.
Hey, Kamla. We're waiting. The leader's coming. The next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla.
Yes, we voted for Kamla.
Kamla.
Everybody say Kamla.
Everybody, there we go.
Yes, we voted.
We are back with you. It's in the village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. Of course, folks, whenever you get in Shady Live, WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook, subscribe, WZYE TV and YouTube. And normally, when we are here, you can reach us at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444. Let me take this quick call. COP, welcome. COP.
Wall Street, good night to you.
Good night.
And Uncle Tommy, good night to you, Uncle Tommy.
Good night, sir.
Wall Street, let me get a 10 out of 10 for all the programming I see these nights on your program. Take 10 out of 10 for programming.
Thank you.
I want to always say, I don't want to be sarcastic. I want to say, Mr. Atlanta, get to the program. Get to the agenda of the program. And the agenda of the program is not to take a word from Wall Street. I wait till the end of the program, when the program runs for us, to say this, that people will answer back. Don't take a word out of Wall Street contribution and attack that word. Get to the program. This program right now, the agenda is yellow is the code. It has so much wrong and lies that coming from Stuart Young mouth and the PNM. Address those matters now. Not I alone will appreciate that, but I think the future of the country will appreciate them kind of contribution instead of attacking somebody. So and stay long with them thing. That we don't want that thing. Gordon Joseph, the whole country gone yellow. The whole country gone yellow. The aggressive agenda you have, keep that away from the program right now. Keep that aggressive
vindictive way of thinking. If you find everybody going with yellow and you're feeling leave out, join the yellow too. Join the bandwagon too. If you feel leave out, come with us, and we will show you so much love. But don't try to distract the program now. Take 10 out of 10 Wall Street.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Good night to you.
Yeah. So of course, folks, let me get my closing quote coming. You know, Tommy. Martin Luther King says, "Your life ends the day you remain silent about things that matter."
True.
Martin Luther King also says, "You don't have to see all the flights in the staircase. You only have to see the first flight." Dr. Claude Anderson says, "A race that's taught to hate itself and love the world will become its own oppressor." Sometimes I just think we just hate ourselves a little too much. We have to stop hating ourselves so much. You understand? We just hate ourselves a little too much.
Yep.
So this is my closing quote. Let me take this call. Yeah, KFC.
Oh, Mr. Washington, I see Trinidad Killeen Dawson. I see Trinidad Killeen Dawson, the UNC, but you have asked them.
But that was not old video. That's a new one.
You see, you can have some for free.
Is a new one?
You don't come on now. Mr. Washington, something? Yeah. Mr. Washington, something wrong with black people. They love separation, they love pain, and they love wickedness and oppression. And just sending me to again, man.
Yeah, man. Bless. Let me get All right, so folks, this is my closing. Here we go.
Today is Thursday, Father, April 10th. I woke up today with peace in my heart. And before any steps, before any plans, I just want to talk to you. I'm not in a hurry, and I don't have a list of requests. I just want to thank you for allowing me to live this day, for everything that went right yesterday, for the protection I didn't even notice, for your hands guiding me in silence. Father, today I'm not here to ask for big things. I just came to ask for what truly matters. Peace to guide me when things feel unclear. Protection to keep me standing. Strength to move forward even when it gets hard. Faith to trust even when I can't see. And determination to keep going no matter what. Help me live this day with gratitude. Let me not waste energy complaining, but learn to see the beauty hidden in the small details. And above all, stay with me, because if you are with me, I know this will be a good day. If this prayer touched your heart, send it to someone who needs to start the day with God. Amen.
Thank you so much. Amen. From where I sit, this is it. The clock on the wall said that's all I like to say, what I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. Remember, your circumstances may determine who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. Go ahead, Tommy.
The only thing that makes emptiness bearable is each other. Again, the only thing that makes emptiness bearable is each other. Like I always say, you, man or woman in the mirror, you have to become the change you want to see. However, if you look in that mirror and you don't like what you see, you cannot blame the mirror. Never look down on a person unless you're giving them a hand up. Love is the key. Love is the key.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me see if I get any closing voice. No, sir.
My closing comments. You ain't singing the normal you, but I do hope that you are okay everything is all right with you and the family. Yeah. All right. So I, Gordon Bernard Maloney, the first, always say that I have no intention and no reason to lie on or about anybody or anything. I say it how I see it, I say it how I understand it, and if I'm wrong, well, and it is brought to my attention, I will address it. I am the one who always calling in, messaging, because I believe that the opportunity is there for me to so do. It are people who don't like it. Why go do for that? That's how it is. I don't like saying, you see that piece, that bean, I don't like it at all. All right? And I think it's the same thing when the host, the Chumacan, calling in on Google program, when he done, ask him if you only think I lying, the 6.5 all. You know more people that be telling Google, boy, why you cut off that man? Why you had a man on so long? But ask him there. Ask him. So I'm not surprised it's the same thing happening here. That is okay. Jesus went through worse than that. We get slapped in the face, they pull the beard, they spit in the face, they push me in the side, all kind of thing. So I go let what somebody say thing. I just disappointed that the level that the host will allow the program to go down to. That's my disappointment. You could say what you want, you know. You really actually become my wife not listening. You understand? She had better things to do. You understand? And I could take it. It ain't no problem with me. But it's just that I feel that nobody should allow a program to go down to that level.
Okay. Let me give the closing comments. Let me see if there's any more voice notes. I didn't feel like listening to that tonight. I just don't feel like listening to that. Okay, so folks, here it is. Closing comments. Caribbean Soul says we crucify ourselves between two thieves. We regret yesterday and for far from tomorrow that Rowley and Stewart. And if closing comments is closing comments, you cannot teach brainless people. Caribbean Soul say I rather dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Or shit, what is your views on presiding officer that was rejected for making political statements? Volsang said the enemy of my enemy is my friend in famous words. Volsang said all the innovating this evening, acquisition of largest power. That's my closing comment also. Okay. Okay. Okay, folks. Tell me what you want to go out with.
Kurt Allen.
Okay.
Before you go.
All right. Let me get that one. So, folks, don't forget, Sunday talk. Let's talk politics with Uncle Tommy, Professor Walshit, and you on WZY 95.9 FM. All right. And we are going to go to Allen. Before you go, before you pack and run away. We see you on Sunday, same WZY time, same WZY channel from 1 to 4 p.m. We are out of here. Later.
Good night.
Before you go, I wanna fly. You began in the Senate of opposition and waited your turn. Then with Manning as your PM giving directions, you studied and learned.
You paid attention to Robbie and the Kamla. Observe there all their mistakes. So there is not one excuse that you can make, none that we can take. Cause we give you a turn to ride in the PM-1 motor car. You change the whole interior with propaganda, it's smelling strong sour. We gave you 2 turns as PM of this nation. So now it's my real obligation to give you a turn before your resignation. Remember, it's we who call Eric Duffy. We call Chambers Duncy as your. It's we who beat Robbie like a Bobali. So if we say you are a bully, don't take it personally. Go tell your friends and your family, it comes with the duty, it's yours. Well, do not believe that we are afraid to call a donkey a ass or a spade a spade. We will temper you like a show, Dr. Rowe. Before you go, before you back and run away. I wonder what Benny and then we have to say. Before you go, before you think you tell the world you go lock Caldahan up. Once you get the vote. You say the buck is going to stop at the TV top when you took your oath. The airport scandal, section 24, email gate. Like a raging bull, you declared war and we took the blade. But since you get your turn, nobody in jail for corruption. Since you get your turn, no members of the opposition in prison. Since you get 2 turns, you promise to set things right. White collar crime you vow to fight, but is a set apart with no bite. Remember, it's we who call pan the racist, we even call him rapist. Say him a box end up in jail till he come out looking frail. So if we say your government represents the 1%, where the rich get richer, the poor man in the gutter. But do not believe your powers of Lekato gonna override the power of this calypso. The ancestors wouldn't allow Dr. Rowe. Sing before you go, before you back and run away. So much unemployment, but still you raise your pay. Before you go, before you take it away. I remember deceased Patrick Manning named Europe, the Rottweiler, because every car that pass around the corner, you run down the tire. Political battles that came your way, you stood up and fought. And when they came with this slander, I dare you say, you took them to court. So we gave you a turn to guard, protect, defend the treasury. We give you a turn to secure the national security. We give you 2 turns to be the mastermind. Reduce violence and crime, but murder's at the highest of all time. Remember, it's we who call Manning Trucker. We say he is a piper. That's all. We keep motorcycle loose, kick him on Bali's house. So if we say you are a puppet, you're lying in your butt pocket. And with your shining bald head, you tread and then naughty tread. But do not believe because you brought money down. You couldn't do the same to the Calypsonian. And then only other down. Dr. Rowe! Say before you go, before you back and run away. Well, wash your behavior, just as Patrick said. Before you go, before you think it away. After 45 years of public service, You deserve arrest. So you're anointed as you're not too young to try. Deserve arrest. Hearing that you support this, having real problems. Election, they voted for a friendly face to say that they say you failed in your turn to diversify the economy. You failed in your turn to create a real creative industry. You failed with your turn to be a superstar. Legalize marijuana and make Fitzgerald the line minister. Remember, it's me who called Kamla Trunka. She's smoking marijuana. When you say what's that? You talk about she kept. No. So if she talk about your father, the young thing that you slaughter. Wait, oops, did I mention his $1 million pension? Well, do not believe you invincible or that the young star is really capable. And we hope that you don't get vexed, but you don't stop your turn next. Before you go, before you back and run away. Before you don't care what the toilet people say. Before you go, before you think you get away. I want to fly. Sandra, we love you. The Black Starlets at Mayor tonight.